Hello, welcome to the Last Arc YouTube channel with our, hopefully from here on out, kind of weekly stream. It sounds like we might be doing these on Tuesdays or Wednesday nights in the future, but today we had an issue with the One Piece D&D campaign. Our DM had something come up, so we're going to be doing that tomorrow at the usual time of 1 p.m. And today we're replacing it with kind of a miscellaneous 1083 stream and then some other topics as well. And today we have Lucas, Straw Hat Lucas, with us. Do you want to say hi, Lucas?
Hey guys, what's going on? Very excited to talk about 1083 and all the other topics we got going today.
We also have Cube of the Red Sea, if you want to introduce yourself.
What's up, guys? It's Cube, your favorite pirate from the Red Sea, and I can't wait to go deep in this latest One Piece chapter.
And of course, the always wonderful 3-day trip, who will be in and out as she can. Would you like to introduce yourself, 3-day?
Can't wait to share some of my theories about 1083 later. So let's get started.
Nice. Okay, and we're going to be having some people kind of jump in when they can a little bit. Some special guests or whatever coming up. But I think we're just going to start the stream off right now with just what are our preliminary thoughts on 1083. I forgot what was the title. The Truth About That Day. So One Piece chapter 1083, The Truth About That Day. And I would say we'll just kind of go in alphabetical order. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L. Okay, so Cube, you can lead us off.
So honestly, there's so much to say about this chapter, especially as I've been a fan of I've been reading One Piece since 2002. I've been a fan of the Revolution Army ever since I've seen Dragon. He was a reason why. When I saw him locked down, I said I had to know this person. So I'm finally happy that this is the first chapter where not only we see the Revolution Army making moves, but we're actually seeing like the inner workings and some of the lores that they know about the world government. So overall, for me, it was a 10 out of 10. If I have to give a score.
That's a very great point. This is probably the most. This is the most we've ever seen amount of panels we've ever seen Dragon in one chapter.
Yeah, man, it's like
Oh yes,
everywhere.
It's
crazy.
And actually, I started the same time you did reading One Piece, so it's not often I meet someone who's read it as long as I, for 20 years now, like I have.
Yeah, man, we've had our own God Valley.
Yeah, I got lucky. Yeah, I got lucky.
Yeah,
I started reading last year.
Yeah, you haven't had to wait the weekly struggle.
That was the worst nightmare. Ennis Lobby killed me back in the day. Ennis Lobby killed me back because that was when internet was starting to boom. I was reading online. It was killing me, Ennis Lobby.
Yeah, God. I remember the back where it was. Oh, I'm sorry, Lucas. What?
I just said I couldn't imagine waiting through Eden's Lobby and like how great of that's such a climactic arc. I couldn't imagine reading it week to week. That would be I'd be jumping out of my skin.
And back then, I mean, I used to have to go to the internet. I used to have to go to the library for internet, and I remember it was like, I don't know, maybe if you were lucky, like under 3 minutes to load one page. So it was just a terror and a real commitment to try to read manga back then. Now it is much better and much more accessible, pretty much worldwide.
We have our first super chat of the stream.
Let me see. Okay, I was waiting for the link. I did not see it on the channel yet, but now I have it up. Okay, I see. Yeah, I see the from Rise. Am I saying that right? If you have been a very great super chatter the last bunch of streams. So if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, let me know and I will correct that. But I think it's Rise M Lucas, and he super chat $5 asking 9 Holy Knights plus 5 Elder Stars plus 1 Emu plus 1 missing character will equal 16 Holy Bullets. Ooh, Doflamingo reference. We had that in this chapter as well.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, when the Lucia strike happened, somebody tried to count, and it seemed that the light that was coming from his head was 16 as well.
Yes, it looked like there was like 16 keys or strings on that attack.
Yeah. And just to add on what Race Lucas just said, if you think about that one missing person, I always say Imu and the Gorosei are important, but that person, that only person who is with Imu could be that one. I said that person also has to be important. Is the one person that Imu trusts enough to be constantly with that person to know his identity. So that mystic person could be, whoever that maiden or that partner that's with Imu.
See, that's interesting to me because if Imu seems to be the antithesis of everything that we've seen in the series in some way, I would say that she most likely does not. She might be the only person in the whole series that does not have a trusted number 2.
Interesting. I was just talking because we saw someone in the flower inside the castle, but that's interesting. Might have no number 2. Could make sense.
Well, yeah, that would be a great parallel for Luffy as well, since he has so many trusted, close individuals. For Imu to basically feel like they're alone entirely, that's a great parallel.
That's what I'm wondering. But I do definitely see your point, Cube, with those. I don't know if they're nuns or whatever they are, showing up as like her little helper things or servants.
Exactly, and I say that because it's very French lore. Louis XIV has more stuff about emus than Louis XVI in some of the reign. And if you think about it, Louis XIV is the one king that limited interaction with him because he didn't like nobles. And the people who were closest to him were his advisors, but also his handmaidens, and a lot of them were like male, if I believe, because he was paranoid because when he was a kid he was attacked when he was 9 years old, and it kind of shaped him. So it would make sense, and it would make sense that maybe since he doesn't see that many people, they said Louis XIV would confide more on the people around him. So his handmaidens and stuff like that would never leave his side. They would even wake up in the morning. When he would wake up, they would be there. And when you go to bed, they would be looking at him, over him, at that level. So that's why I was going with this idea, that it could be interesting.
Okay.
He has to share with someone. I'm sorry. He has to share with someone. You can't be spending 800 years not talking.
Well, I mean, if Luffy, if all he does is talk and laugh, I would say it would fit that, she might never talk.
Well,
or her voice might be like the voice of God, and then when she talks, reality gets altered.
What if she talks to Joy Boy though? Like, what if they, we're all familiar with Gold Roger. What if they were siblings or close like that? And that's why she goes and looks at his frozen straw hat all the time, is so that she can tell him about the world events. Even though he's gone, a lot of people in grieving will talk to dead loved ones and stuff. So maybe that's who she talks to.
And that's actually what I was about to say as well. Where I would say I wonder if she just confines in that gravesite straw hat freezer, and that's kind of where she might meditate and try to talk, or even who even knows, communicate to the spirit. Who knows what the powers are.
Oh yeah, and we see that Brook can pass into the soul world, so who's to say someone else can't as well?
True. And there's a great comment in the chat from Zukane where he says the Gorawase is Japanese wordplay and something Oda loves a lot. The number 16 in Japanese can be translated to I Mu. So lots of connections between Imu and this number, which I totally agree. And I guess Lucas will jump into what were your initial reactions with this newest chapter?
So usually when I do my chapter reviews on TikTok, I do it the day of, but with this one, this is the first chapter in a long time that I had to kind of take a day and mull over the chapter. Because at first, it seems like a lot of setup, but at the same time, there's a lot of action in there as well. I mean, we get to see, what's his name, Karasu and Morley both fight in this chapter, which we haven't seen, really that much of, which I really liked. I like seeing the Soot fruit. That was cool. But just like Cube said, I've been waiting. I know I haven't been waiting as long as you guys, but I've been waiting for a chapter that features Dragon prominently, and it was just a chef's kiss of a chapter for that. I also liked, I don't want to get too into it, but I kind of feel like Cobra knows he was going to, with the way he responded and told Hell and Chaka to take care of Vivi the way he did. There's something there. I think he knew what was up.
I absolutely agree. I think that he definitely. We even got that clue with Shaka when they got to Egghead Island or whatever, that he kind of felt like his death was coming. I definitely think that Cobra was kind of on the same page as far as feeling like the end was near. And we got a gifted membership from Terrible TJ has gifted the Last Ark membership. So thank you so much, Terrible TJ. And it seems like Party Pete got it. So congratulations and welcome to the crew.
He also gifted another one, and it was given to Moog with it.
Oh, nice.
Moog is now a member.
We appreciate TJ.
I know I've seen Moog a lot in the Discord, which we will drop a link to when at least somewhere in this when the either in the chat or in the comments underneath later on. But he's very active in the Last Ark Discord and is a great mind for One Piece ideas. And then I guess we'll just jump to 3-Day. What did you think about this chapter, and in particularly maybe what you think about the Holy Knights?
Well, I like a lot of the theories I've heard so far, but what I was thinking is the main reason the front person looks like Shank is a representation. Like, it's just referencing the fact Oda wants us to know the Holy Knights are like hockey monsters, Shank says.
Ooh,
the devil fruits around them, the devil fruit swirls around them, are also a representation of the fact that they're strong enough to put off devil fruit energy.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
And it could be, I don't know if anybody would think this is possible, but I was so unsatisfied with how Wano ended. I felt like Bucky's prophecy wasn't fulfilled, and I wonder if the 9 shadows back to her prophecy.
Ooh. That, okay, you've just blown my mind, 3-Day. I really like that.
Yeah, that just blew my mind. I had to unmute just to say, "Holy crap!"
Yeah, that's what I thought of when I saw them. Is the fact that they're going to be hockey monsters. They're giving off devil fruit energy and 9 shadows that come before the dawn, the start of the war, real war, world war.
Ooh.
And also,
wow, that is amazing. I'm looking up the lyrics for "Oh Holy Night" to see if there's anything crazy in there.
Yeah, and also I've been thinking as well with the number 9, if you think about it, we know there are 4 blues and there are 5 Gorosei, right? What if 5 of the Holy Knights, like the 5 of the Gorosei were like 5 Holy Knights, and maybe the 4 extra, like the faction is to represent each of the blues, if you think about it. Because the number 5 comes all the time, but I said, where would the number 4, if you move 5? And I said, maybe it's, they represent the entire world in a sense, of the world government. The 4 points that could be, Because in French lore, and I think British as well, like usually the head knights, like stuff like that, they usually are supposed to represent their entire region, not just their kingdom, Like Holy Knight is like much bigger than just a regular knight that we've seen in Alabasta or in Fishman Island, or those kind of places.
Okay.
I can't remember who said this or where I saw it, but I saw a take that was that the Holy Knights I think it might have been Parvision, are holy because they're blessed by the sea. And that's what the devil fruit swirls would represent, is that, they're basically like the opposite of devil fruits. They have powers that would be the opposite. So they're blessed by the sea. Like we saw somebody in an early chapter talk about being able to walk on water. What if that's something the Holy Knights can do because they're blessed by Eden and, are blessed by the sea, unlike devil fruit users who, sink. They can't even go into the water because they just walk on top of it. I can't remember who saw it. Now I'm going to have to sit here and try to find the little short I saw on it. But I thought it was an interesting take for sure.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking up like the depth, because I always, and what I kind of do on my channel is I kind of always just go to the word itself and kind of look at its origins, look at its meanings, and there's lots of words we just don't even think about, like for instance, like cloud originally meant rock. So it's just lots of weird things that just, we don't even know because we don't use those words anymore. But looking at the definitions of the word holy, some of the main ones are separated or set apart from something, and then set apart or dedicated for a specific purpose. So, or for use by a single entity or person. So I almost wonder if these 9 Holy Knights are Emu's kind of last trump card against the Dawn or against, you know, a new Joy Boy type figure.
Ooh. And with knights, that could be a play on, like, you know, the night, like stopping the dawn.
Exactly, that's true
Ooh.
too. And yes, I do think that that's a big thing. They do that in Game of Thrones too, where it's like the Night King. I think that there's lots of playing around with it actually being a king of knights, like a knight, like a in armor and stuff like that.
The more I think about it, because the moment I read the chapter, I've been saying, because I had this headcanon that, you know, Gandalf, who hasn't aged in 25 years, could have been a Gorosei, but now I'm more and more in this connection. What if something in Skypiea with Gandalf, who was literally a king, who was a humble man, but called himself a god, so connection to Celestial Dragons, Gorosei, then went from a king to what? To a knight, a sky knight. And what was he protecting? Poneglyphs. Because people say, oh, yeah, he's protecting yeah, but in Shador there was poneglyphs. So I'm wondering if there was some stuff with the Holy Knights already, like, you know, the breadcrumbs that Adam and I really love to look for in previous, former arcs. So yeah. I do feel like maybe Gandalf had some spices more to it that we didn't realize.
Yes, and I have.
When I first read the chapter. Oh, sorry. Can I add one thing real quick, Adam?
Yeah, you can go.
All right. See, when I first read the chapter and I saw the Holy Knight silhouette, that's the first thing I thought of was Gonfall. Because he was a holy man, he was a god, and he was a knight. And I was like, oh, which I don't think it's that that much of a parallel. But yeah, I agree, Q, because the first thing I thought of when I heard Holy Knight was like, that's Gonfall entirely. But yes, Adam, go.
Oh, honestly, I was gonna say, from what you just said, honestly, that kind of, it makes me wonder. Well, Gonfall, whatever, was against the god in Enies Lobby. Mm-hmm. So I'm almost wondering if this is an inversion where they're with God, or could it be the a same parallel where they're actually against Emu as well?
Oh yeah, we haven't even thought if they're against Emu. Like,
we know nothing about him aside from the silhouette. I would say too, it reminded me a lot of the end of Part 1 Naruto, where we saw the Akatsuki all in shadow, and there was 9 of them, and those red clouds they have and stuff like that. They kind of just I wouldn't even be surprised if they all wear kind of. It looked like they wear cloaks already, but I wouldn't be surprised if they wear a very Akatsuki type uniform.
You know, actually, you know what it made me think of? Oh, sorry, Lucas, I'll let you go, then I'll jump in.
Oh, no, all I was going to say, plus with Kishimoto and Oda being such close friends, too, I can completely see that.
True. Yeah, what were you going to say, Luke, Cube?
So I just remembered, what was Gandalf's entire... so basically, before NL, his biggest problem was handling the natives of Sky Island. I think it could be that the Holy Knights were the ones who basically, because I do believe that there's native, indigenous people, like the people from Goa Kingdom or those places, like the previous king. As we know, Celestial Dragons left their kingdom. Maybe before that, those people, they were other, because I do feel like there's a Native American type of lore, in which was very heavily in Skypiea. And just very fun fact, if you look across One Piece, most of the time that you see like those totem poles, Native American totem poles, they're usually shown as being burned up, which I find very interesting. Like the lands are in pain.
Oh.
And I tell people, Dragon and O'Hara and Great Terminal, that was the most angry we ever seen. If people think it's about the people, if you think about it, those are the 2 locations where nature was being destroyed. And native are like, they see that as, the biggest crime on anything. So I'm now going more in this headcanon that I do believe that with the Holy Knights, they could have been like the main force to take those lands away, literally create a world government back in the day.
No, I definitely, and just real quick, shout out Dax Saki has joined the chat and stream watching. Thank you so much for joining, Dak. We love your content and thank you for the support.
Appreciate it, bro.
What's up, Dax?
I was gonna say, kind of piggybacking on Cube's point, this idea of I say it in my recent chapter reaction thing or whatever, but this whole idea, I like the idea when you're writing, this idea that everyone's kind of the hero of their own story. And I definitely think that whatever Emu's doing, for all we know, she's trying to protect the celestial dragons, who are monsters on the, on the floor. But I wonder if, there's gotta be 1 billion people living on the red line. I mean, it's huge. There's gotta be more people there than probably the rest of the world combined. So I'm sure, even let's say 80% of them are bad. There's still probably about 1 billion celestial dragons that are not bad people. And she's still trying to protect those who I do really kind of wonder how, I do kind of think that she's in some way hugely related to as like the king of them or whatever. And a king's duty, first and foremost, is to protect their people. So our queen, I do think she's a girl, because the Queen of Pirates, if you want to get into big conspiracy theories about Queen Elizabeth, and just a fun fact is that the majority of pirates in real life were actually almost all of them were working for either the Royal Navy or the American Marine Navy. So even Blackbeard was working for the Virginia governor when he was killed. He was actually killed by accident by a Marine who then got demoted and just vanished from history. But all that stuff, I think, is very possible for, basically Emu protecting her family, I guess. I really kind of think that the Gorosei might have been her original kind of crew or something, but we obviously have no idea.
I would agree with that. It paints her in a maternal light too. She feels like she has to protect the Gorosei, or not the Gorosei, but the Celestial Dragons. And I think definitely they're descendant of. Obviously, they're descendant of the 20 Kingdoms, but there's obviously a connection between Ym and those 20 Kingdoms. Elis has entered.
I was gonna say, Eldis, you just entered. Would you like to talk about what your initial reactions were for 1083 if you've read it? Maybe not right now.
It's Elis this time. Hops in. Elis hopped in. Elson hasn't hopped in yet.
I said Elids, didn't I? Or I said Eldis. I'm sorry, I pronounced the name wrong. Eldis. I'm terrible with names. I always just read them in my head and I never pronounce them.
You're our Luffy. You're our Luffy. You're our Luffy. Simple as that. You're our Luffy.
Listen, I do the same thing with Bleach. I can't pronounce any of the names in Bleach.
Yep. And a little bit later we talk about the live action, but I just saw that live action little clip about how to say Luffy's name right, literally, and still until I started watching YouTube in 2019, I always said Luffy's name as Luffy.
I know a lot of people that do that, man. They'll say Luffy, and I'm like, it's Luffy. But I luckily, because I started watching anime before I started reading the manga, I luckily had that down.
Okay. Yeah, I've only watched the Marineford arc.
So with the anime now, I don't watch it every week. I wait until there's a couple episodes and then catch up on it, because the pacing is just it's getting a little bit better, but after Dressrosa, man, the pacing is terrible for a long minute. Which sucks because the scenes are animated beautifully. It's just the pacing's so bad. So bad.
Yes, I have kind of seen that as kind of the general consensus that it is not the best. Oh, hey, it looks like Eldis is unmuted. Would you like to comment on the newest chapter?
On my lunch breaks, I have a minute to talk about it. And I'll just talk about what you were talking about just before this about the knight.
Yes.
One of the things you said is I heard that was really clever is the idea that it could represent the knight as well as as an opposing force to the day, which would be associated with a sun god. Well, I've actually been saying for a bit a while that I believe there's multiple sun gods, and I even said a pretty while back that I believe Saturn is going to represent a sun god, and is going to look like that robot from the ancient kingdom that we see under Egghead. And because Saturn is a planet, and we know that there's Poseidon and Uranus, what's the other one? Pluton, which could be a reference to Pluto, the planet. We have all these different things. Because those are grouped up together, those could, even though they're planets, they could also be stars, right? Because of the way the Japanese word for planet and stars could coincide with one another. So they could represent a day, and they're 9 collective. Now, the world government doesn't have the ancient weapons, so they can possibly just only have 6 of these things that represent the day. But they have 9 that represent the night, and those could also simultaneously be the night. So that's where the wordplay goes there. And that's why there's the 9 nights, but the 5 Gorosei and the 1 Imu. And I saw in the comments section that the chat, someone, I believe it was Lucas, he added it up, the night, the Gorosei, Imu, and then 1 missing person, that would equal 16. And there's one other thing we haven't factored in, that's the moon. Because the night is one thing, but that's not the same thing as the moon. In the same way that the planet is the sun. So there could be a sun, which would probably be the sun god, whoever that could be. That could just be Luffy's fruit, or that could be some other force, whatever. So then that just leaves the moon. So wherever that missing person could be, could represent the moon, which I think would most likely be that assistant of Imu, because anybody can know Imu, right? The whole point of Imu is that she's like, nobody knows her but the Gorosei, but there is one other person that knows Imu. So if anybody's the moon, it's probably that one particular assistant that knows of Imu.
Okay, I see. I have some very alternative thoughts when it comes to the moon and stuff. I think Luffy is the moon, and then the only reason we see the moon is it's reflected by the sun, or using the sun's reflection, whatever, to light up. I think that that's kind of what Luffy is, and I actually think that Imu was the original. I don't think it's the same Joy Boy. Like, I don't think what Fishman Island is talking about is necessarily what Joy Boy is. I actually think that Imu is the original Joy Boy. Joy, of course, being a only ever used as a girl's name in all of history.
I was gonna say, I'll go after Elids, because that's the thing what Elids says to add on.
Well, I'll just say what I was going to say quickly, and then I do want to hear from you, and then I'll expand upon it later. But that actually leads to something I want to say next about how the Knights could reveal something about Joy Boy, and how I believe that there isn't just one Joy Boy. And it's not even a thing of like passed on will or inherited Joy Boy title, but more the idea that there's multiple people interpreted as who is Joy Boy, and it actually causes confusion in the modern day world of One Piece as to who or what Joy Boy is.
Yes, I absolutely agree. Almost like playing on like false messiahs in our world and stuff like that. I know Elvis has a great new video about Kid maybe being one of these characters, and it's great. And I definitely think that he's 100% right that there could be multiple different Joy Boys, and Luffy might just fit one of those criteria. There are many other characters maybe as well.
Mm-hmm.
Hugh, what were you gonna say?
So this is I'm gonna do a short because I explained something like a few months ago, which I do believe like the Marines could have been originally the Knights of the Kingdom, and it was because of the Reverie. Because if you think about the Reverie, right, it's all about kings, right? But in Europe lore, back in the day, like around that timeline, when the kings would take decisions, they weren't the one leaving their kingdoms. They were send their head knights, the Knights of the Round Table, and the Reverie table. And one of them, when they show it, is a round table with the world government. And if you think about it, I've been saying that the logo, the emblem of the world government, if you look at it, it's 5 blue spots. And I always said, what if it's not 5 blue spots? Because I'm a huge fan of the show Heroes, who have superpowers, and they get their power with the eclipse. And I said, what if it's instead, it's supposed to represent like the sun, like the different where the sun hits, and instead it's hit by an eclipse, meaning that the sun god is blocked. So maybe I'm wondering if it's the Holy Knights, because I said whoever, like the Round Table, maybe Oda did this thing where it was perverted, corrupted. What if the Holy Knights were actually they were actually quite holy back in the day, but they got corrupted?
Well, and that's what happens with many ancient Arthurian lore, where the Knights of the Round Table do get corrupted, and that has to be changed out. And honestly, along those same exact lines as Elders and Cube were talking about, we have 9 Holy Knights and then Emu. If that's the combination of 10, isn't that the Straw Hats?
You just blew my mind, man.
Yeah, actually.
No, you're right. Yeah, that is a pure parallel to the Straw Hats. That could be our final villains of the series, which I actually believe it's going to be Shanks, but that's another time kind of thing.
But I definitely think we're going to be fighting the Holy Knights, in this end game. But I don't think they're going to be the final villains.
Oh yeah, I agree though. I think 9 Holy Knights and then Emu against Luffy, or Nami, because I kind of think Nami's gonna be the one to take out Emu. I don't know why, but I do. But 9 Holy Knights versus the Straw Hats. What's that?
Oh, I think there's a lot to the idea too that Nami might be Emu's daughter.
Oh yeah, see, because I think they are definitely together somehow.
Also, I just thought of something because it's true what you guys said. Like, what if okay, let's say back in the day something happened, right? Emu got corrupted. Basically, what we talk about represents also the Straw Hats. What if the Straw Hats were like nature itself, naturally fighting back? You know what I mean? It's like the Straw Hats creation is a byproduct of what Emu did, because there is this lore, and I think Asian folklore follows that in those supernatural stuff, they say everything has a balance. There's no power. Like, you think about Blackbeard's devil fruit, I say, what if Blackbeard's devil fruit, the Yami, was the byproduct when the devil fruit were created? The one power that would keep all the other ones in check. You cannot have in Asian culture, you cannot have an all-powerful without a loophole, without a counterbalance. They could be the counterbalance. Emu, literally the domino effect. When Emu dropped the first domino, she naturally created the future of the Straw Hats appearing and doing what they need to do.
Definitely. Well, I think if Emu represents full control, and Luffy and the Straw Hats kind of represent opposite, safety and freedom.
I think one of the things to take in consideration is the emphasis on the Void Century, right? And how so many things that determine the way the world order is in One Piece at this moment came down to whatever happened at the Void Century. But you also have to factor, the whole reason it's called the Void Century is because there's that space in the middle. There was a history before the Void Century. And I highly doubt it was a boring, Monday, nothing ever happened. Like, I'm sure a bunch of crazy stuff happened before that. So when you're talking about having to fight against nature, I do think there's also, you got to take into consideration whatever society and world order was established before the world government. Perhaps they had their own version of the big bad that they had to take down. And that's what created Emu. That's what created these things that are in place now.
All right, just real quick, we got a super chat from Lord Vegeta for $2 saying like the stream. Thank you, Vegeta, for all the support, and then all these super chats. It's always great to hear from you. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Well, okay. I'm looking at we have a list of talking things, whatever. I think we're gonna stay on this 1083 or whatever. What did you guys think of the kind of some of the powers we saw, mainly the suit fruit?
I was actually going to ask this. Do you guys think it's a Paramecia or a Logia?
I think it's a Logia.
See, that's what I'm thinking too. I can't remember correctly, but I think when we first saw Karasu in the anime, that he formed out of soot. Obviously, we didn't know it was soot at the time, but if I can't remember if I'm remembering correctly or not.
He at least became a bunch of birds. It's not started that way. Yes.
Yeah. See, and unless it's a special Paramecia type, I don't see it being a Paramecia.
So actually, because I'm going out of work, and here I am. So I was gonna say, I was thinking of basically I analyzed for the last 2 days his devil fruit, like in the chapters where I saw Dressrosa. I can also say I believe that when Dragon saved Sabo and Broad Kingdom came on his ship, he was on Karasu's back. It would fit it. It wasn't his devil fruit. We just couldn't see Karasu. It was darkened around the sea, meaning that we couldn't see if it was crows or just him flying. And if you think of everything, all of that together, I looked and analyzed any devil fruit that acted very different when we first introduced with birds, and there's another fruit that fits it, and it's Marco's fruit. Because Marco, if you think about it, he's a mythical Zoan, but if you look at Marineford, it was showcased to look just like a Logia. Like literally, he was the attacks were going through him like it was his own element. But then Oda explained, oh yeah, that was animation, things like that. They showcase it to be very different than others. To then introduce, it's a special brand. So I'm wondering if it's like Marco's mythical Zoan, but it fits the criteria you guys saying about the Logia types. It's considered to be a mythical Zoan like Marco's.
Honestly, that's what I was thinking at first too, like maybe a raven or a crow mythical zone. But with the suit, like in this chapter's like definition, it does make me think that it's probably just a Logia, which is also interesting because I'm not really sure if we've seen a character outside of like the Marines or I guess Ace maybe that has had a Logia.
Caesar Cloud.
Okay, well, working for the
Also a
Marines,
Logia.
bad scientist, but yes, I
Oh yeah,
definitely
you're right. But yeah, that's why I'm leaning towards Logia. Like I said, it's potentially a special Paramecia type. We've only seen one confirmed in the series. The other one that's possibly it is Magellan's. I'm sold that that's a special Paramecia. Because with the special Paramecias, it mimics a Zoe or a Logia. But what if he had, like you guys said, what if he has a Paramecia that mimics a zone, so it's still a special Paramecia, but it's just on the other end of the spectrum?
True. And I honestly, that I said it in my reaction video, whatever. It's crazy that we're 1,083 chapters in, and Oda's still impressing us with cool new powers.
Oh yeah, it is. It's wild. That's something I've realized is that because in America, like most of our comics and stuff, it's all the same like general powers. You know, it's laser beams or psychic abilities or flight or super strength or whatever. But that's what I love about One Piece. You know, is the powers are so wild. I mean, we had a whole guy that was basically made out of snot in Dressrosa, like, and we were all cool with it.
That is very true. I mean, we can't forget about the Booger Man or Boogie Man.
Yep. Which one?
Well, and that's something that I mean, we have it in the thumbnail for this stream or whatever. But big shout out to Elson Jackington. He's always great on Discord. He has some great ideas. He was gonna be joining us tomorrow during the stream, but I don't know if he can make it today. But he has an open invite to come in if he's available. But he kind of turned me on to the Ancient Kingdom being the G-Chi Kingdom, which one of the translations for that would be the Drumstick Kingdom. And it makes me think about, even in this chapter, we get the Doflamingo cover page, and he's always references this heavenly demon, and he's very bird and flamingo-like. So I do wonder how much that's a clue to this ancient Birdman Kingdom thing, and why exactly maybe he was so important outside of just being a celestial dragon.
I want to say something. I'm gonna jump in because you're giving props to Elson. For those who like, because I speak to a lot of people in the chat on the VC, my takes, you should know that most of my takes, usually the one person outside the team that I want some feedback is Elson. He is he's my encyclopedia in the One Piece universe. His knowledge is really deep. So if at one point he started doing his own thing, you guys have to give him some love. He's my Vegapunk. That's how I see him.
Yeah, I have literally been talking to him now for about 2 years, and the last year has been very hardcore talking. Every single video idea I have, if you like any of my videos, I run them all by Elson first and get his takes, and then usually have a shout out for him in the video of stuff he's found. But he is my most trusted source as well, and friend about, hey, how crazy do you think this is or this is? And he never once says that's too crazy. So he's great for talking to about anything One Piece, any about real life stuff. He's a regular person with a family and all that stuff. He's great to talk to about pretty much anything. And I know he doesn't have a YouTube channel, but he does have a Twitter. I can put that in the comments later or whatever. But I think it's just Elson Jackington, on Twitter.
Are you honestly, guys?
Shout out to Tati Spins in the chat. Oh, sorry,
Also,
Steve, you can go.
Yeah, I was gonna say also, I'm very often in the VC during the day with Elson. and we usually are publicly. So I don't know why many people don't like. I think they think we're working, but you could jump in and also talk to us. You know, like it's a open forum. You know, that's another place where you can find us with Elson.
Yes. Usually we do at least a couple days a week. We have just regular chill chat in the Discord, in the Last Arc Discord, where we'll just be talking about anything. Not always even One Piece. I know that new Legend of Zelda game came out. Everyone's talking about it, so I wouldn't be surprised if we're doing playthroughs and stuff on there.
Ooh. Right.
Well, and now, okay, I guess I'll segue a little bit more into what do we think. Like, I know the chapter ends with Cobra, and we of course get that pretty. I think Q pointed this out. This very sinister shot of Hattori on the last page, which shout out to anyone who thinks that he might be Lafayette. But what do we think might be happening next chapter with this one ending with the Cobra getting ready to meet with the Gorosei? I guess we can start with you, Lucas.
Yeah, I think it's going to pick up obviously right where we left off with Cobra. I think we're going to get his death scene. I'm expecting to cry at it. I'm not going to lie. But I think besides that, we'll probably I think at the end we'll segue back to Egghead. I think it'll finally come full circle. If not this chapter, the chapter after, we'll finally circle back to Egghead to the Straw Hats. But I also think we will see how they freed Kuma in this chapter.
Okay.
They kind of hinted at it last chapter too. They set it up, and we saw Bonnie, running and screaming for her dad. I think we're finally gonna get some answers there as well.
Okay, I like that. I will say, I think in case we don't know, I think after next week is an Oda break, so I would expect a big cliffhanger.
So maybe we won't find out about Cobra.
Okay,
Ooh,
yeah,
okay,
I was gonna say, I'll wait till after Cube or whatever, but I was gonna say I think it might be ending with kind of Sabo busting in and Cobra's dead on the last page or something.
Ooh.
So,
But Cube, do you have any ideas what we might be anticipating or expecting in next week's chapter?
well, actually, I have a prediction. As you all know, I try to be a humble man, but the one thing I'm not humble about is I'm the parallel king of the One Piece verse. Where I just like to find the parallels, and I've always said something like, and ever since we've had Wano, it made me 100% sure we're gonna get that talk. And you think about it, at one point during Alabasta, and I think that was the same moment that Robin found out about Pluton. Cobra looked at Robin, and we actually didn't see the discussion. And it was overshadowed with Luffy coming in, stuff like that. And ever since then, Cobra has always had, and you think about it, he's getting sick, like he has some sort of illness, which I do think is more about his desire somehow was starting to oppose Imu for some reason. And I do feel that whatever Robin read about Pluton, she might have said something to Cobra, and we might get that flashback if we see Cobra talking to Imu, whoever he's talking to. Like we might get a snippet of flashback about something about the past that was faked. Maybe like the dark history of the Nefertari, like let's say something was written in Poneglyph, but nobody was able to decipher it until Robin. So I would like it that it would be interesting that it's a bit like those rulers right now who kind of feel bad about, what happened during the colonial times, it's like, like some sort of regret or shame, and he's going straight to the source to talk about it. If you think about it, Cobra could do a big thing. He doesn't seem to be that glued to the world government, but weirdly enough, he's keeping that very tightly to the point it's getting him sick. And he's going straight to the source, like he's trying to make sure that he's not, I could even say he could have found something that could be the end of his reign. You know what I mean? So I do think we might get the flashback or something around that. What exactly did Robin find out and what she told Cobra?
See, to me, there's lots of context clues in Alabasta where I think Cobra says we're here to protect this. And Robin laughs at that like it's an obvious lie, like you guys aren't doing any sort of protecting. I think that Cobra's a bad guy. I think that Cobra wants to body snatch, and since he's sick, he wants a new body. But I wouldn't be surprised if next chapter we see that Kuma actually killed Cobra.
Oh.
To stop him from doing whatever he wants to, or being too late to do whatever. I have a feeling we're going to be seeing outside of the Royal Palace stuff during most of the chapter, and then the chapter will end with like Cobra dead, or maybe that's when Sabo bursts in and Cobra's dead, or Kuma's standing over him, something along those kind of crazy lines. But having to be a huge cliffhanger for basically, you know, the break week as always.
And just
Now,
before I let you get,
I-
just before, yeah, because
Sorry.
my last take, and this is why, because I'm convinced of it. We see all the revolutionary making their moves, but the one who got the most prop is Sabo. So, you know, people are calling, you know, people on the agenda saying Sabo is a fraud, or, you know, all over it. But I'm saying, what if Sabo wasn't praised for being the one who fought all the admirals? Because think about it, they call him as a liberator. What if Sabo was like a sort of Nika? Like, he actually, his thing is, not only he got Kuma, but other slaves were able to escape. Because think about it, I've been saying it's very weird, the ship of Leloucia. He said he was near Leloucia, but he had so many people on that ship. What if the reason why he was going to Leloucia is he was bringing slaves from Leloucia, who were taken from Leloucia? And as they were coming back...
I think that he did say that, and we did see in this chapter them telling the other slaves to gather at the east to be saved or whatever, rescued.
That's why, and I think it's a perfect parallel to Guard Kingdom if you think about it. Because I said, I made that prediction when we found out about Leloucia. I said, it is literally what happened to Guard Kingdom when he left. He was on the ship when he got blown up. Everybody was on the island and saw it. What if he was there?
Nice.
And the Celestial Dragon were coming to Guard Kingdom. So I would think that this parallel would be, you know, parallel king here. Sabo was coming with those people back to Leloucia and it was blown up. Because or else it doesn't make sense. There was way too many people for him to... He has the fire fruit. He doesn't have Kizaru's fruit. He doesn't have Kuma's fruit. It is very... He had a lot of people. It was like a Whitebeard entire ship type of crew. You know what I mean? Like it was filled with people on it. It was too much.
I would like to add on to the Cobra being evil topic.
Go ahead.
I'm actually working. I've had this in the back of my mind, and you know, the most recent chapter made me want to actually flesh out this theory just because of relevancy of the topic. And I've been of this idea that perhaps Sabo actually did kill Cobra, and we're just led to believe because, you know, oh, Sabo's a good guy, you know, Cobra and Vivi, they are against the world government. Not entirely, but, you know, they're obviously not fans and they're more aligned with Luffy. So we're just led to believe, like, you know, Sabo would never kill him. However, there's certain things to factor in. I'm not going to go into because I'm making a theory anyway. But I want to expand upon the idea that maybe Cobra might not actually like Luffy and pirates and revolutionaries in the same way that Vivi does. And something to take into consideration that you never think about this. Sorry, what was that?
I just joking. What father is okay with their daughter's lover, figuratively?
That's exactly that's exactly it. That's one of the greatest points to the idea of him not liking Luffy. Because why would he want Vivi to be with Luffy?
And not to cut you off, but literally the last person that Vivi, you know, a male figure that she was involved with, he literally sent them on a pointless death mission to dig for water in the desert for 10, 15 years. He's done it before.
Yeah, I think there's the greatest foreshadow for this. I'm not going to go deep into that, but just look at King Riku, Scarlet, and Kyros. I mean, King Riku literally almost looked at Kyros as a son, and he still required Scarlet to fake her death. So you can only imagine how Cobra would think about Vivi being with Luffy. So
that's a very good point.
Yeah. I talked about all of this.
You guys have sold me. You guys have sold me on Cobra being evil. I swear. But sorry, let's go on.
No, it's no problem. I just thought of something the other day, and it's never something you would think about, but once you think about it, then you gotta pause for a second and really wonder the implications of this.
Yep.
Cobra's greatest enemy is Crocodile. Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, it cut off a little bit. Well, you were saying the greatest something is Crocodile?
Yeah, Cobra's greatest enemy. Cobra's greatest enemy is Crocodile. That's what he said. I heard.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that. I'm outside. Okay. His greatest enemy is Crocodile, right? And Crocodile's right-hand man or woman was Nico Robin. We never really get the reaction of Cobra to see literally his kingdom almost fall apart. And the next thing you know, Robin is on Luffy's crew. You gotta imagine like the kind of mindfuck he was going through. Like, wait a second, what's happening? Like that makes no sense.
Yep. Yep.
From his perspective. But to make things even worse, he wanted a crocodile to serve justice for trying to take over his kingdom. He goes to Impel Down, he gets tortured and whatnot. Next thing he knows, Crocodile's out of prison. And who's the person that broke into Impel Down and led to Crocodile escaping? It was Luffy. So there's probably some resentment there that we don't see off screen, and it's probably gonna be some kind of plot twist. But once you actually rationalize it, it would make sense why Cobra would not like Luffy.
Absolutely. And we just had Ragnar join in the chat. Ragnar, is there anything you want to comment on with this stuff? And then also maybe your thoughts on the 1083 as a whole and what you think might happen next?
Yo, I'm just glad I saw Dofi. I was so happy I saw Dofi. I heard someone make an analogy. I can't say I remember who. That the chick he was holding was himself falling from the nest, being very raw, and being going through a rough patch.
Ooh.
Basically, the coat that was laid there, if you know what the coat kind of represents, Don, the family, the mafia family that he made in Dressrosa, and that would be like Treble. If you realize Treble wears a very similar coat. So I don't know. Maybe that's like a whole thing. I don't know if that's actually some symbolism to it, but I thought it was a cool way it looked.
I like that.
Would
When
deliberately
it comes to the
pick-
Cobra stuff,
Oh, sorry.
no, it's fine.
Elders, what
When
were
it
you
comes to
saying?
the Cobra stuff,
Oh, sorry.
no, it's
Go
all
ahead,
good.
go
When
ahead,
it comes to
Ragnar. The floor is yours.
I just see it like this. I have this crazy idea. And, I don't want to believe it. I actually said this multiple times to people. Even though it's an idea I have, I don't want this to be a thing where I think King Cobra is dead and he was betrayed. He was betrayed by the person we least expected to be, and it would be Pell. I think there's a chance that one of the giant holy knights is Pell.
Ooh.
And the reason why he was always so overprotective of Vivi is because, just like we've always thought, Vivi probably looks a lot like Emu. And if just like the Gorosei has Aegis Zero, I think Emu has the Holy God Knights, and they would know who Emu is because they would probably work directly under Emu. So part of the reason why I think Pell was so willing to sacrifice himself for Vivi is because of whatever connection she has with Emu, and then later on he was ordered to get that because who cares? And there's also no. I would explain how Pell survived a goddamn warhead. Like, regardless of how you want to take it, they said that would wipe out like 5 kilometer radius of the city. That's not a small bomb. That's not. It would just make so much sense if that's how he survived it. This is just all headcanon, and I'm hoping it's not true. I'd rather Pell be loyal and Oda still be the kind of person that doesn't like to kill people. But if this is the case, yeah.
Ragnar, he's
That's what I'm
survived by the will of fate.
Well, I'll tell you, talking about crazy headcanon, I think Pell survives the same way that Koyamon or whatever survived in Wano, and that's they're literally picked by Luffy, the guardian deity, to live.
I just thought of something.
Oh,
I just thought of something very interesting while you guys were talking. Because if you think about it, there's all these 3 seraphim that were introduced in the story: Boreas, Crocodile, and Doflamingos. And if you think about it, those 3 chapters, 3 of those Shishibukai were all named former Shishibukai. Borea was named when Garp, when the Peroda came to save Kobe. Last chapter we got Crocodile, and this chapter we get Doflamingo with and then we get all the Cobra stuff. So it's all about Shishibukai. What if it's a way to pivot to whatever those seraphim are gonna be about? It might connect to their real self. You know what I mean? Like Planetopia, Black Warriors, Finger of Shadows. Like, what if there's a thing where, because I do feel like those 3 Shishibukai might have a twist. That's why those 3 still haven't been introduced, and they 3 have interesting arcs. You think of it, Moria is literally the one that changed this whole thing of inherited wills. You know what I mean? With the shadows. He's like, before the Germa, it's free time skip. The concept of being able to take someone's soul and put somebody else, Moria dropped that. We have Planetopia now, and that Flamingo was all about what? The treasure the national treasure of Mary Joa. He knows about it and he wants to go there. And now what we have the same chapter where he's in the cover story, you know, just looking at the birds or flowers, just resting in peace. What do you have? Everything lore about world government, the Holy Night, the inner working of the celestial dragons in a way. So I think there's a path. Maybe it might connect to those two seraphims, with York, who literally wants to become a celestial dragon. So maybe those three seraphims are in cahoots with her.
Could be. I mean, they should be available to do something that Mary Joa timeline wise.
Yeah.
I was about to say what you were saying.
Maybe that's why we haven't seen them.
Boa Hancock.
Yeah, I think, and you know, also recent, I'm gonna add this in because I think, I don't know if Elson that we had that talk with, but basically that we believe that in the White Tide thing is why Cobra was named, you know, at the same time this chapter is, what if their Seraphim crocodile would have like a poisonous type of, like the Magellan. I saw a short with Elson and we were talking about that, so it was quite interesting if you think about it. It's like everything is,
that too.
Yeah, everything is returning. I think there's gonna be a big pivot back to Alabasta, all those different perks. Ever since Wano, that we've been getting a lot of stuff of Poneglyphs, and I think people don't think about it, but Alabasta was like, there was something that was overshadowed.
Oh, definitely.
So,
I mean, literally, it's the only arc that we see the sun a bunch in.
Yeah.
Or I guess I should say the midday sun, which in Egypt, the sun is split up into three: a dawn, midday, high noon, and then dusk. But Lucas, you seem like you were going to say something. Go ahead.
No, now I spaced it. It was just to add to Cube's point. Oh my goodness. But also when Elis was talking about, you know, Vivi and her ties to Eam, all we know about, I'm just going to say this, all we know about Vivi's mother is that she supposedly died. That's all we know.
True. Yeah. And that one picture of her.
Maybe it's Eam. Yeah, that one picture of her, which, who knows?
It's weird. Yeah, it's
weird.
weird.
Now I kind of remember what I was going to say.
While you think about that, I'm gonna pivot something, and I'm actually gonna ask Adam a question, because Adam is our, you know, he has the artist's eyes, you know, he has the vision of the art. He's our Miss Golden Week, our Mr. Golden Week in a sense. If you remember, and I say that, what was your reaction when they showed the, you know, that panel, the 9 Holy Nights, and behind it, the background was all about the spirals in One Piece. If you think about it, the Delphoid spirals, the eyebrow spirals were right behind it.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, what was your take on that? What was your take on it, bro?
To be honest, I'm a little embarrassed. I was just thinking that it was just a visual type thing, and then when 3 Day said earlier about it maybe being a rejection of Devil Fruits or a shield, like an Aegeus from Devil Fruit type thing, I think that might be extremely, you know, real and accurate. And they also talking about the artist stuff, whatever. They all have shadows. They're in shadows, but then they also have shadows underneath their feet. And when it comes to, I think, the symbology and the symbolism of the manga and of many manga like Berserk and stuff like that, the sun is a constant presence. It's never actually in the picture. So if these characters, they have a shadow, there's an implied sun somewhere. So is that Imu? Is that, you know, whatever? They're blocking the sun like an eclipse. All those type things. Oda very rarely draws shadows, and he drew shadows on the floor in that picture. So I was kind of thinking along the lines of like you were saying earlier with the eclipse, or with something to do with the sun, or holding it back, or something like that. But I really liked 3 Day's take about it maybe being either Devil Fruits or a rejection of it. I would have to, honestly, I'd have to look it up, but I wonder if when we first saw those Devil Fruits in Enies Lobby that the Cypher Pole was given or whatever, I want to say that they kind of had similar outlines of it when they first looked at those fruits on the table, and that would make me think, like what 3 Day was saying, that they could be very, like, maybe they're all mythical god Devil Fruits, or I almost wonder if maybe we're going to start seeing some repeated Devil Fruits, and they're just that special.
How about the idea of the Holy Knights being shadows of characters we already know of? And in this instance, it could be just like how I said, the 9 that are the planets could represent, sun. They represent the day, I mean. And the nights represent the night. They could just be shadows of whoever represented the day already. So what if, I'm sure you've seen online the ideas of like one of those shadows or one of those nights could be Shanks, right? And it could be Shanks' brother, could be this, could be that. What if it could just be Shanks' shadow? And that's why there could be two Shanks. That could have been the shadow of Shanks that had the meeting with the Gorosei while the reverie was going on. And then the idea that there's actually shadows of the Gorosei out in the One Piece world. And maybe we've actually already seen and came into contact with the shadows of the Gorosei. There's this image of how Gonfall looks suspiciously like one of the Gorosei. What if Gonfall is a shadow of one of the Gorosei? Or there's also my theory that maybe Morgans is one of the Gorosei. Or maybe he's not that specific Gorosei, but is the shadow of the Gorosei. Stuff like that. I think that's a really fun thing to like try to look back at the story.
I have something to pivot into it. I've got something to pivot into that. Yeah. What if we're talking about sun? We're talking about dreams. We're talking about shadows. And you're saying that what if, like those shadows connect to one person, like they're opposite. What if for a dream, someone has his boogeyman, you know what I mean? Because a boogeyman is all connected to dreams. Like in Dream Lords, a boogeyman, if you think about the night, to protect yourself from your night in Dream Lords, the dreams are supposed to represent the light. But the night wants to take on one's darkness everywhere. So they would take Formless, which is the boogeyman, and to be able to trick the people, they would basically use whatever they love against them. So that was the idea of a boogeyman. And I tell there's a lot of Peter Pan lore. And the first time we had seen a person eat a devil fruit in front of us was Kaku and Khalifa. And when Kaku's first transformation, Oda showed it by showing his shadow changing first. Then we saw later on his full transformation. So it might be something like that, Like for each dream, there's a nightmare. For each dream, there's a nightmare. There's a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, I have a bunch of videos about, the boogeyman on my channel, and in particular, Luffy kind of being that dream eater, or, the Straw Hat being a dream catcher, because literally everything Luffy's done has been catching people's dreams, whether he's taken the biggest ones with him on his crew, but he's, kind of helped along all the other dreams of people he's met along the journey. But I do wonder if that could be turned something sinister, and something along those exact same lines before you go, Lucas, was this idea of these Holy Night people. I will send some panels later on, but when Luffy fights Usopp, when you look through the light, all of Usopp's black images look in the light going through the page to be Luffy's exact shadow. And I wonder if everything we've seen about in connection to these celestial dragons and even Blackbeard, they're always marked by betrayal. Even York doing stuff now. I wonder if these Holy Knights, they might have been like the strongest crewmate that eventually betrayed their potential Joy Boy captain person in the past, and they've all been rewarded for that by becoming promoted to this position. But Straw Hat, Lucas, you go ahead.
What I was going to say is, because I know you guys think that there's multiple Joy Boys, so I was going to ask you a question. Do you think potentially the Holy Knights could be either the shadows of those Joy Boys or the failed Joy Boys? Because we've seen failed Joy Boys before with Kaido.
Yes, I like that. I think both are either Joy Boys that didn't decide to follow through on whatever Joy Boy's ultimate goal is, or the ones that stopped that Joy Boy or something.
Exactly. Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. You just kind of blew my mind with that shadow thing. I won't lie. You stay cooking, man.
Yeah, elders. Yeah, whatever you got.
That's really all I had to add to it. Is just like because now I'm starting to think that it's the shadows of the failed Joy Boys, or like you said, Adam, it's the ones that betrayed the failed Joy Boys, the ones that were going to take it all the way, but they got stopped. Maybe it's the right hand man's. Maybe Zoro's a candidate for a Holy Knight. Who knows?
I think that's definitely a possibility that he's in line for that, whether he knows it or not. But Cube, you were going to say something.
Wait, sorry?
Oh, I thought you were going to say something, Cube.
Yeah, I was going to say something, but I'm going to let you guys finish stuff. It's going to pivot to another discussion, so that's why. It's
oh no, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
So for me is, and I've been saying this, is because now now we get more stuff about it, and I do want to drop more prediction. If you remember when Sabo, I talked to people in the chat here in the right now in the live chat. We've talked about it, and if you remember when Sabo was named the Emperor Flame, and there was a huge projector of him. If you look on the side, there were a lot of different flags, and among them there was Sabo's flag, the Shimotsuki crest flag, and a Marine flag. They look different. It look a bit different than the rest, than the Marines one we've seen. And I've said we've never actually seen Sword branded their own thing. And right now, if you think about it, they're literally starting a war against Marijora. Making them hungry. Removing the supply of food. And usually in those kind of things, you do not make those moves unless you have allies that have access to certain things. So I'm wondering if now we might find out the Revolutionary Army hasn't been that isolated. They maybe had allies in different places. Because to be able to change a system, you need an ally from the inside, someone who's kind of sick of it. You know what I mean? That's how in France they were able to remove the monarchy. Not only they got rid of monarchy, some of the former monarch, or at least the monarch who didn't want to be in reign, they helpers try to give them all the stuff they needed, because or else you would not be able to reign. It would be chaos. That's how they were able to do. Yeah.
3-Day mentioned in the chat that she still believes that the Holy Knights will mainly all be hockey monsters. If these Holy Knights fit the kind of second strongest in command type thing and they betrayed their captain, that would fit to me like Zoro, who for all we know could very well just be a hockey monster. But Q, if anyone wants to answer Q's question, go right ahead. That was some great ideas with that, and I know in this chapter we got that they had allies with those 8 kingdoms, and then they mentioned the one Lucia banished or whatever. But it definitely seems like they're kind of gaining allies or whatever, more by the day. Honestly, something with Q, what you just said, we even get them talking about how they might think that Cobra's a good king, but as a whole, most of the revolutionaries look at every king as being bad, which I do too. But they seem like they're gaining a lot of followers just from that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like
they did say that. They did say that Sabo was seen as a hero because of killing King Cobra. That's that. You can go, Cube.
No, I was gonna say is for me it makes more and more sense, and you know why I say that. If you think about Garp, right? Garp has already acknowledged, stuff about Roger, in which it does seem that they were not just rivals. This was not how Kid sees Luffy, you know what I mean? Like Garp is very similar to Luffy, and we know Luffy does not care about optics. If you're a good person, if your purpose is right, and we've seen how he was able to work with Crocodile only because Ivankov said, and that's the only moment where Luffy kind of went against his own morals in a way. You fuck up my friends. I wouldn't be shocked that Dragon, Luffy's father, would also be willing. He doesn't care about your organization, but what you're actually fighting for. If you're a Cypher Pole agent, but who is sick of it and who's been working with it, he won't stop just because you're a Cypher Pole agent. Luffy and Garp, we don't know much about Garp, but it does seem that he's also that way. They don't care about the BS, the politics aspect of it. Hence why Garp never became an admiral. So I would not be shocked that Dragon is able to work with people on the other side, if they're, if they're good people, you know what I mean? So yeah.
Honestly, I feel like Dragon might be much more of a pragmatist, and he doesn't care if you're good. He just cares if you're useful to help out, this revolutionary goals.
Yeah, exactly.
Which that's something too, and it doesn't really veer too much off topic, but when we heard about the new Onigashima plan, it seemed like the start of Kaido's and Big Mom's plan was to get the ancient weapons first. I am very curious if the revolutionaries, the reason that they haven't done a whole bunch of stuff to this point is because they might be searching for those as well to start this war.
So, the thing that bothers me about the whole war thing, especially for at least how Kaido, what we know about Kaido, I do feel like there's a miscommunication on what exactly that war is about. You know what I mean? I think only Joy Boy, when Joy Boy returns, he will know exactly when I think people know there's gonna be a war, but I think everyone has their own headcanons in a way, a bit like us, you know, when we don't know too much. It's very confusing if you figure, because we don't know about Revolution Army, but I don't think it's going to be anything that whatever the Rocks or what if Big Mom and Kaido are planning. Like if Shanks also is waiting for that and Mihawk, I don't think it will also be the same thing. So it's very confusing when you think about that final war in a sense.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, at this point, we don't even have a clear idea of who the final bad of the series is or whatever, the big bad. But what you were talking about with this revolutionary stuff reminds me, and you're French, you'll enjoy this. My favorite play is Les Miserables. And in that play, you have two different examples of revolution. You have the empty chairs and empty tables ones who they just want to fight a battle and war and they all die or whatever, and it doesn't really amount to much or whatever. And I wonder if that's kind of the revolutionaries and dragons role. And then you have Jean Valjean, who, through his actions, changes one of the top members of this regime in, what's his name? Javier. He changes Javier's beliefs to the point that he has to unalive himself because he is just so torn between what his justice his whole life has been and then what the reality of good people is. And I wonder if Luffy is kind of that position as Jean Valjean, where he's through his actions and through genuinely being a good person and caring about people and trying to save the ones he loves, he's kind of the Jean Valjean route where he's changing their emotions and views about these people, whereas the revolutionaries, they're just I want to fight real bad, you know, we're all kids, we don't even know what war is, and we all end up getting killed or whatever. I wonder if that could be a huge parallel along with all the French stuff that you've brought up.
Yeah, and you know, actually, you talk about French. You know what it kind of made me think of is the in history there is. Oh, wait, 2 seconds, just because. Oh, okay. So yeah, sorry. There was a bark. So it made me think of the death of Count Ferdinand, the Archduke Ferdinand, that literally started the First World War. If you think about it, the death of one person who had connection to government in Europe literally started, you know, the First World War. So
yes.
What if there could be a hint of it as maybe death could be like a parallel to that, like that to this one death is like the first domino dropping. For this big
definitely. War. That's a great point that Cobra could be that I did not hear you say Franz Ferdinand, right? That's the guy that got killed.
Yeah, the Archduke. So basically, yeah, like they don't know what exactly happened, but he was attacked, and there's some still to this day. Some people say he survived, he didn't, but the official thing is he was killed, and that's basically what sparked the First World War.
Well, and what's really interesting about that too is that is like the official sparking point, but there was a million things going on that started World War I. That was the tipping point, and I wonder if you're absolutely right that Cobra is that same tipping point.
Yeah, exactly. For me, it's like literally, it's like the first domino, because think about it, Cobra isn't just a king. He's a king with celestial descent. They could have been celestial dragons, they refused. And he's also a good king. It's literally the perfect loophole in a sense. Why? Because he's a character that could get people like Revolution Army or Garp trying to avenge him or trying to, like, it's not fair. He's also people with their own people, but he's also connection with Celestial Dragon would have the rest of the world hating that, so they would be actually empowered. So when a start of a war, no, we started it, we have to finish it. We have to find true. Like, he's this character where it's not about his moral, it's just about what he's like, a pawn in a sense, you know what I mean?
What he represents.
Like, yeah, what he represents is exactly. It is. He's a perfect scapegoat in a sense. You know what I mean?
I don't say that same word, scapegoat.
Yeah. If you think about it, this character can literally get all those different factions, and then you have the Gorosei, who most likely don't want to lose face, you know, in this whole situation. So even though they don't respect Cobra, they're gonna have to do something because now they made this Naruto of Sabo. It's like it isn't this domino. But that's why I say it's domino. You can't stop it.
Absolutely. And real quick, we just had Ronnie join the chat. Is there any burning desires or thoughts that you'd like to mention between this chapter / what do you think is going to happen next / anything we've talked about in this hour?
Yo.
And also anything you want to promo and plug while you're on here?
Man, I'm just here listening to y'all cook, bro.
All right. I actually have something to say about this.
Sure,
So,
go ahead.
I was mentioning this with Cuba as well, and Cuba
Not really,
had his
yeah,
own
man.
spin on
Just
it.
knock him out and let's go.
I was thinking about the Pope. Right? The Pope has something called like a PayPal thing. Not
Yep.
like the money transfer thing that
Yeah,
we use on the
a
internet. I'm
PayPal.
talking like a night system.
Powerful. But yeah, no, definitely. They have that. What are you thinking?
Okay.
I think we might have lost him for a second.
So
Oh, yeah,
no.
he's back.
So the idea is this. Usually the knights that are granted, like the head of the
Yes, I'm
knights,
here
they're
right
granted
now.
a certain position that is equal to like a certain level of royalty, right? And it's directly under the Pope. So even certain kings, even though they were lower ranked than some kings, they would have like a higher authority. So they would directly go to the kings of other countries and demand certain things that should be outside of their authority. But technically it's within their authority because they're directly under the Pope. Now,
Okay.
if you think about the God's Knights, what if what York was talking about, the next way to get into celestial or her celestial rights, basically? Because by the way, this system that they give to them, it's not a nobility you can pass on in your bloodline. So usually it ends with you. You get the rank, and your daughter doesn't get it, your son doesn't get it, your wife doesn't get it, but you cover all of them basically until you die. What if York's way is to become God's Knight? And we might be thinking God's Knights are like, oh, they have super hockey, but just like Limburg, he's a technology person. So there could be one person that's really good at technology, make an army of robots to fight for them. You watch One Punch Man, I don't remember the name of the kid, but it's like a super genius kid that's part of the S rank heroes. It could happen where the God's Knights are just different ways in where you could be powerful. Like one could be a hockey fan, one could be a double fruit user, one could be hopefully a fish man. I'm hoping. I know it's not going to happen, but I'm hoping. Right? I don't know, but it makes you interested to see like why did the government like want giants as much? Maybe there's a giant among them, but specifically a Wotan, really actual like giant. I don't know. It just makes me think of like there's a lot more to the God Knights than just being like super powerful. They could be like really smart, like
That's a very good point. Very good point.
Like Suru.
Well, and my main thought about them being powerful is just if we kind of stack up on one side all the people opposing the world government and Marines, that all the named characters, all the believed power scales, all those things against basically the three admirals. They're the only ones that would really pose a threat to, any of the, not counting Buggy, but any of the Yonko, all that type stuff. The Marines on paper really should not have a good chance at all of surviving this stuff as far as we're concerned. So I'm expecting these Holy Knights to be powerful just because there has to be something to even the scales at least a little bit. Aside from, of course, like we heard about all in Wano, I think all that setup of, pirates always betray each other was kind of set up for, not every pirate maybe being for the same, goals as Luffy is as far as freeing the world or whatever.
I'm sorry. Let Ron.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Ronnie, if you have any thoughts on anything, feel free. No reason we don't bite. There's no reason to be nervous. We're very glad to have you here. We know you help out a lot in the community, and you're the in my mind you're the everything Discord. We always get everyone pings.
Yes. Let's shout out Ronnie real quick because this man runs the best Nakama server in the game. It's family there. It's everything.
I appreciate that, Lucas.
Hey, we got you.
You're gonna make me emotional, bro. I'm too light skinned for this.
Happening in the common moment.
Any thoughts on? So you guys talked about who might have who killed Cobra, bro? When he went in that room, what happened?
I mentioned earlier. You go ahead.
Yeah, Okay, I didn't mention this part when I mentioned what I said earlier, but I don't think he was killed in the room. I don't think Sabo got in the room itself. I was talking to about this with a friend of mine named Il, shout out to Hot Tori. And I was saying that I don't think he died in the room. I think he went in there, had the meeting, and he left the room. I think Sabo, when the door was open, cracked, he could see through the crack and see someone on the throne. That's what I think happened, right? It's not a guarantee that's what happened, but I don't think Sabo ever entered the room. And that's for one reason. They stopped Cobra's guards at the door, and there were still guards at the door. And I could guess that inside the room where Cobra went were like, I don't know, the God Knights. There's no way Sabo walked into there if they're as strong as we think they are and escaped alive, especially if he doesn't mention encountering them, because he doesn't mention encountering them. Like, Dragon talks about them as if they were like around, but not exactly within the premises of the scuffle they had. So that's what I think. By the way, Ronnie, I think Pell killed Cobra.
Okay, I'm thinking Kuma might have.
I like that.
Yeah, I think after you and Elo talked about Cobra being evil, I'm thinking it was Sabo. Like you said, I think the revolutionaries see all King is dirty. He has no ties and knows what he... Like, let's be real, in terms of the story, Sabo doesn't know what Luffy did on Alabasta. Like, he might have heard of it some way, but he doesn't know for sure.
It is hidden for the most part.
Cobra is it?
The official Sabo fan club here will do a counter afterwards. No worries. Go on. Just your word.
Oh no, I'm just saying. I totally think Sabo killed him, but I think there was a reason Sabo killed him. Either Cobra told him to do it, or he had good reason to do it.
So
what were you thinking, Cube?
So I'll explain this, and I've been saying time and time again. Luffy, Ace, and Sabo grew up together. Their core values should connect to one another. And not only is that I don't see Sabo doing it, nothing for headcanon, it's just the way his character is written. Like, he wants people to have a fair share. And he comes from noble bloodline, so I don't think, like, being a king, but also Dragon's reaction. Because when he read the headline, he literally told him he would be out of the organization if he did that. So I do feel like the Revolution Army are like the opposite of what Akainu is. You know what I mean? Like, you cannot spoil, which I think Dragon's whole thing is also makes sense. You do not fight fire with fire when the people control information. You would just being seen as labeled as the worst of them all, like Dragon's already. So that's why I don't think that Sabo is behind the Cobra's death. I'm going to say this. I
have just to be the devil's advocate here. I have a question then for you. If their goals and stuff should align, how come it's made such a big deal that they all three have different dreams?
Oh, that's perfect, because it's all about this. Why, because actually I thought of it a few months ago, and I read that. I heard that lyric in a rap song, obviously from Lil Wayne. Gotta give props to him. He says we all have what is it? It's we all live in the same apartment, but live in different levels, so we have different views. And I think it's just the way the way, if you think about it, Sabo, Ace, and Luffy, if they grew up together, we already saw that Luffy and Ace do act very similar, but Sabo grew up like a nobleman. So there's some stuff that they change with it. Like, also Ace learned how to be polite to Frank Shanks. That's something that Luffy doesn't really, didn't really care about it. They show that even though in the core they're the same, they just do things differently. And I think that was the whole point of Roger's son. And Roger's like the one who inherited his dream. In Marineford, Whitebeard says they both act the exact same way, showing that even though they're different brothers like that, they still have a core similarities. I just don't think that or else Sabo would have tried to become Pirate King. You know what I mean? They were both, and Ace would have kept trying to become Pirate King. In the core, they're just different, but they have same values. That's how I see it.
I would say
to play devil's advocate.
What?
I said, can I play devil's advocate?
Okay, sure.
So you're saying it doesn't align with the core values that we see reflected in Luffy and Ace. But from a storytelling perspective, wouldn't that make it more compelling? Isn't that an avenue that it can go down to show that there is a conflict, not just the world, but interpersonal within these characters, in these people. So then we have multiple layers. Yes, we have the obviously big bad guys of the world government, but then we add to the element of their soul, their character. Who does Sabo truly want to be? Does he want to be this person or that person? Can Luffy condone this? And then it would put Luffy in this predicament of choosing between his brother or his Nakama, because Vivi is a crewmate. So it could actually be very compelling from a storytelling perspective. Then we have to think about one of the core themes of One Piece. It's dreams, right? It was shown specifically through Frankie how he gave up on his dream. Or you could argue he changed his dream. But when it really came down to it, he never changed his dream. It wasn't meant for him to just be just some land criminal he wanted to make ships, and Iceberg told him, you know what your true dream is, so follow it. So then he made the ship and he joined the crew. When Sabo was a kid, what did he want to be? It wasn't a revolutionary.
A writer.
It wasn't a rebel.
It's a writer.
He wanted to go out to sea and write about the stuff. As a kid, he literally got on a boat and went out. But then he got a buster call to the face. But that's besides the point. He wanted to go out to sea. He wanted to do these things. It wasn't to be a rebel. Yet circumstances changed that. But it's just like with Frankie. Sure, circumstances could have changed that, whether you get hit in the face with a cannonball or a train. It doesn't change the fact that you still have a true dream from when you were a kid that you can still hold on to, that you can still reclaim.
Well, and that's actually something I was going to mention with the Sabo stuff is, you know, he wants to sail the world and write a book about what he finds. To me, being in the papers, kind of rewriting history would be a corruption of that initial dream, like you were talking about, Elvis. Yeah. And along the same lines, the great writer George R. Martin always talks about how there is no point in writing anything if it does not show the heart in conflict with itself. And that is essentially exactly what you were saying, where if Luffy just picks the good guys, what's really the point of reading? Not that you can't, pick between, but like just I'm saying there's going to be a moment, I agree, where he has to choose kind of which good guys to follow. And if they come into, one of the big things I think in my head where is like for Zoro, for instance, what if something to help out the crew would result in him losing his arm? If he loses his arm, we know from Shanks and Mihawk that Mihawk is not interested in fighting you anymore. I wonder if something along those same lines could happen with Luffy, where he really has to decide between his true dreams and, X, Y, and Z instead. Stuff like that.
So to play on all of that is, actually I do agree, and I think it's very compelling. But why? And honestly, I think so. I do have because I'll give you my initial idea on what is the purpose of Sabo, and I think that's why he was reintroduced in Dressrosa, and is literally is similar, like when Luffy was Shanks talked about Luffy outside of Wano, just his crew members who didn't know about him were scared of his reputation. If you remember in Dressrosa, Luffy might have been the one who defeated the Flamingo, but it is Usopp who won the people's heart. And if you think of the way that they said that Sabo is now named as Emperor Flame, he has a bigger reputation and a better image than Dragon ever, even bigger than dragons. So I do feel like, but I like what Adam and Elitz just said, because it's also very compelling. Because I do feel like for Sabo, joining the Revolutionary Army, same thing as Luffy as being Pirate King. They have a dream, they know that One Piece will achieve it. He knows that being joined the Revolutionary Army is a stepping stone, same thing as Luffy. So I saw as Luffy. Well,
remember though, he joined the Revolutionary Army after losing his memory for like 10 years.
Yeah. And so I would say this is that most likely for Sabo, that's how I see it, is Sabo is supposed to be the other brother, the one to get the people. Basically, it's Quasimodo and the guy Phoebus in the Hunchback of Notre Dame, because I do love Oda does a lot of this inspiration. Quasimodo was the one to try to start liberating the people. But who is the one who got the people with a speech? It was Quasimodo. It was Phoebus, the knight.
Okay.
So that's how I do think. But I like what you guys said. As a Sabo stan myself, I'm not too headcanon with Sabo. I just really like the character overall. And I do feel like it's a very compelling. Like maybe Sabo would introduce to Luffy something that, with Ace, it went well. But With 8, he wasn't with his crew, so it didn't hinder. So it could be a thing where he has to choose between his crew or his brother. So I do like that.
Well, I definitely like that a lot, where, you know, he's kind of, we know that Luffy's going to need all these forces to kind of oppose Imu and the world government at large, and perhaps Sabo is the mouthpiece that kind of organizes the rest of the world. That's not, you know, they don't believe any pirates are good, but they might believe these revolutionaries are good and follow him instead. I do think that's a very big possibility.
Yeah, it's just because I saw somebody say that in the chat. I wasn't saying that Luffy's doing what he's good. I mean, like, the best example is Crocodile. Crocodile overall hurt people that connects to Luffy, so that's what I mean by that. Is that the fact that he would go after Cobra, it would be like, you know, a big thing. But Elids and Adam have just, you know, pivoted me to another outcome. Could be interesting. I still don't believe that he's the one who killed Cobra. Sorry, Lucas.
I mean, I personally believe that Cobra was trying to switch his bodies to a younger, more attractive.
So I got a question.
Like
A couple questions off that.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Roddy,
Ryan, go ahead.
You could go ahead,
Okay.
Roddy.
So first in the chat, Vexus said he thinks it's Stelly. What do you guys think about it being Stelly?
I think that Stelly probably hasn't left. If she left Punk Hazard or Egghead recently, wouldn't it be obvious to the other Vegapunk?
Stelly is Sabo's brother. Sabo's brother. Stelly is Sabo's brother.
Shit. Okay, no. I like that.
Yeah, you have to remember this is a flashback, so
Ooh,
he's thinking it's Stelly,
Ooh.
in Sabo's brother.
I definitely think there's something with him. When we
Yeah,
see
Stelly
the Iron
also.
Throne, he literally thinks to himself he wants to sit on that. So I definitely could see him trying to do something to kind of have that be his goal.
Oh,
Well, I
he
was
could have
thinking,
said
what
that.
if
What
that's
if
how he-
Stelly is the one Sabo saw on the throne?
It could be it. What were you saying, Lucas?
I was gonna say, what if that's what, because he's going there to become a celestial dragon. What if in order to become a celestial dragon, he has to basically take out an enemy of the government, so he kills Cobra?
I like that. I also
Because Cobra's not
think-
aligned.
I like that, but
Right.
I also kind of like the idea that
Right.
that Stelly maybe did sit on that
Now you're
throne and is
thinking.
going to be put to death, and that
Ooh.
Sabo has to have a battle of the heart to see, does he want to kill all these celestial dragons, or does he want to save his biological or whatever brother?
What if Stelly saw something, and basically Cobra wasn't dead yet, and you think about whoever found him, Imo the Gorosei. What if, being sort of a coward? I won't lie, because that's how I see Stelly, being the coward king that he might be. What does he do? He begs, and they tell him. What if they tell him to prove like his true allegiance? You kill Cobra. A lot of those
That's what I'm
gang
saying,
stuff like that to coerce someone. You have to make him a kill, literally soil his blood as much as yours.
Blood for blood. To be blood in, you got to take blood out.
Sure, proving to him he
Yeah.
has to prove his worth to the
Very-
Celestials. You understand?
Yeah, very, very Freemason like, we're getting to our Illuminati like.
Yeah.
Exactly, though. It's the shadow
Conspiracy level.
government.
Well, and that's what I was saying earlier with the Holy Knight things, maybe being all betrayers. That could very well be, something they have to do to prove their loyalty to the throne is by getting rid of their blood. Much like how Doflamingo's eventually did with his, with his dad or whatever.
Yeah, it kind of makes me think of.
Maybe
Oh, sorry.
that's why Dopey killed his dad, though, is that he knows
Do
you
y'all
have
think-
to sacrifice like someone to become a celestial dragon. And
Okay.
so he thought killing his own father would make him one again. Sorry, you can go. Roddy?
Ronnie, you were gonna say something?
Nah, you're good, bro.
Okay.
You-
I was
Shout out
gonna
to
go
say,
Vex
ahead,
for that.
Ryan.
I like
have
this
one
Stelly
thing to say,
I like
and then
that,
Fushi was asking,
take.
who are you guys most excited to see in terms of the French?
What was that, right?
What is
Bernard?
that?
Then Fushi was asking, who are you guys most excited to see in terms of current storyline?
Repeat that, Ragnar.
I think he said, who are we most excited to see in terms of the current story to show back up?
Okay.
Saul.
I
I'm so excited to see Saul again. Doflamingo, yep. Ronnie, who are you excited to see, man?
Laboon, like Dax said.
Boom!
Honestly, I'm gonna say this, and because I already talked about them, and I think it's very interesting that they still haven't been introduced. Doflamingo, Crocodile, and Moria Seraphims. That's what I'm the most curious about because they still haven't been shown. And if you think about it, they just been name dropped each one of them in the last three chapters. Each one of them.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
I heard you say that earlier. Awesome.
No, I like that a lot. That we're the Seraphim that we have not seen yet, kind of seeing them all. I like that too. I am interested in that as well. I'd really like to see if and we just saw this whole thing of like in the cover page with Doflamingo and the whole bird, and who knows if it's a bird leaving its nest or whatever it is. But I do wonder if we'll get something about Doflamingo escaping or something along those lines.
Yeah, and I do feel like.
Sorry, here we go.
I was gonna say
Echo Down 2.0.
Yeah, and if you think about it, yeah, we're getting also, and I do feel like I still believe that Crossguild is the one going to impel down. And you think about it, a lot of those stuff that we're getting to, it is a lot about liberating. And you think about it, the Crossguild just said Planetopia, which what does that entail? So, and I'm gonna say this, Seraphim Moria will be very interested. Why? Seraphim Gecko, most like that will be his name. He would have a version of Moria's fruit, which is very interesting if you think about it. What did Vegapunk think about it? Because Moria is very smart. Vegapunk is very smart, so maybe Moria he took it at a different level than Moria would do.
Well, and along those same lines too, with the parallels and the reversals and all that stuff. In Marineford, Dofi kept asking Crocodile to work for him. I wonder if Crocodile is gonna reverse that and ask Doflamingo to work with them. With the Cross Guild.
Yeah. This is why for me there's something with those two Seraphims. Sorry, just for me there's something odd about those two Seraphims. The plot will be different for them.
True.
I agree with Cube on the three Seraphims being so popular with him. Chestnut Tanuki as a whole figure, like, started. But to answer your earlier question about human locks, I hope we get Shiki.
Shiki.
Shiki. I've been stuck on the Shiki for the longest while, I can tell you. I think Shiki was the previous world's strongest swordsman, and I think the swordsman that Zoro fights before he fights Mihawk is Shiki.
That's interesting.
So in the chat we're getting a lot of Big News Morgan stats.
I like that.
Which brings back to Vivi, which is interesting. What do you think? I'm gonna pivot to. Where do you think Big News Morgan, Wapol, and Vivi are going to? I think it's Sphinx Island. I have this headcanon that might be the next island, and Sphinx is literally Alabasta Egyptian theme. And if you think about Sphinx being the home of Whitebeard, the first time that Whitebeard was relevant to the story was in Amazon Lily, because that's where the whole war started, and that's where Luffy was the one time without his crew. So maybe Sphinx could be where his crew is all back together, meaning Vivi is back with them.
I totally agree. My very first video on my channel like a year ago is about I didn't guess right about Egghead, but going to Sphinx Island next or whatever. And I do think that all roads might converge to that Sphinx and all the Riddle of the Sphinx stuff and everything like that, and Vivi being once again included with something kind of Egyptian themed. I think could be very, very big and real.
Yeah, and yeah. What about
someone
you?
said in chat, I still want to know if Bartolomeo was killed by Shanks.
I don't know, because I think he's going to show up during the final war, because the Grand Fleet. I think
that's a good point. What happened with Bartolomeo?
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's dead or what.
Okay, guys. So Ronnie has a slight delay of 7 to 10 seconds when he talks, so you guys are aware. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Oh, okay. I see what's going on. Well then, hey, we will. I will ask Ronnie a question, and we will all pause for him to start.
Yeah,
Ronnie, is there any other things in in this chapter that stuck out to you,
No.
and or predictions for next chapter 1084 that you have in mind that you'd like to talk about right now?
Okay, well, first, at the end of the chapter, we see Cobra in a wheelchair. Before that, he wasn't in a wheelchair, was he? What happened with that? And then as far as next chapter, people are saying they think we go back to Egghead. I think it's still a little too early for that. Like, there's still stuff that can go down. Like, I want to see more Cross Guild, more Buggy. I want to see a lot of more things, bro. What do y'all think?
Well, that's what we've been talking about for the last 2 hours, what we think.
So wait. Well, I'm gonna pivot to.
Do you think we go back to Egghead or no?
I'm gonna pivot to Lucas
Too
because
soon.
no, Lucas, what do you think about the Cross Guild stuff? Like how it's gonna pivot into the story?
I do think they're going to try to go for the One Piece. I think the Cross Guild connections is going to run into Blackbeard before they run into Luffy or Shanks. I don't know why, but I just have a feeling we're going to get a Buggy v Blackbeard match. And sadly, I know everybody wants Buggy to become a king of the pirates. I think Blackbeard's crew is going to take out a lot of Cross Guild. At least their fleet members. That said, sorry, I had a thought about Buggy. What's that?
I said it's all right. You're thinking.
Yeah. So I have the thought though that I think would Buggy. All right. Question. Can Devil Fruit users go to Laugh Tale? Because will Buggy be able to even get to Laugh Tale? We saw last time when he tried to go, he got violently ill. Or do you think it's a hockey thing where you have to have some kind of control over hockey? I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
I like the Devil Fruit idea that you actually can't get to the. That's why the Roger Pirates, as far as we know, had no Devil Fruits, was that you can't actually get to that Laugh Tale zone with one or with multiple spirits or something in your body. And we just had a super chat from Mr. Bushido for I don't know what that is, $2 for the theory Yasop killed a celestial dragon. That's why he left his family, which could be very possible. And we just had Moog Latan, Moog we all call him, join the chat. If there's anything we've been talking about that you want to comment on or do whatever with, the floor is yours. And thank you for joining us.
I mean, just regarding chapter 1083, I think that. Oh, you're very welcome. There's one kind of interesting thought I had about a few hours ago, which is that the gods that seem to be unique to Marijois, that are, super powerful fighters that are being built up. We already have the systems who've just been introduced to super powerful fighters who are fighting directly for the world government. It seems weird, like Oda's introducing new characters and that he's not revealing them, and also that these gods knights were able to mediate disputes between the celestial dragons, right? And all of this makes sense if they are Gorosei, right? First of all, the Gorosei have authority to over the celestial dragons. They're one of the few people that do. They're always in Marijois. They are a sort of last resort, which is how they're being treated.
Good point. They just put the last trump card kind of thing. We're looking at this.
Voice crack there. Because they're so valuable, right? It's revealed this flashback in the copy 1084 or whatever. Then that would set way higher stakes for Egghead if guys like Dragon and the whole Revolutionary Army are hyping them up and treating them as if they're the last.
You pulled off a little bit at the end there. They were treating them like angels or gods.
Yeah. And they're gods knights as well. Emu is a god. They're directly serving a. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. It's probably the option I'm betting on, right? Shanks. But But
Great
yeah,
point.
that's kind of all I have to say with this chapter. There wasn't a lot of lore. It was just some. Morge said it best. He made a video on it like a few hours ago. This chapter feels like it's the chapter before the chapter. You know, what I mean, 1084 is going to be the one that really, you know, we're going to get some crazy reveals. Cobra's going to die. Eam's face might be shown. You know, but this is like a setup chapter, and it does it well, but not much to say on its own.
I said earlier that I think next week, after next week, is a break week, so I'm expecting a major, huge cliffhanger. So I'm on that same page where we're gonna be. This was the setup. Next week might be, you know, to the halfway point of the setup, and then after the break, you'll probably switch to Egghand, and we won't find out.
And I'm gonna go back.
Yeah,
to
I mean, Oda does structure them around the breaks.
True.
Sure.
What were you saying, Cube?
So I'm gonna go back because
Sorry,
you said something interesting about Mr. Bushido's super chat. I do want to take a couple of seconds, 1 minute to talk about it.
Real quick, Cube. It seems like Lucas has to take off. So Lucas, is there anything that you want to plug or mention, or anything you got coming up in the pipelines before you have to leave for your family obligations?
Yes. So, before I go, tomorrow, everybody in the chat, I want to see all of you on the Last Arc YouTube channel for One Piece D&D. It's getting spicy for us. I don't know all the details, so come see my character reaction live. Other than that, I also want to say, everybody, oh yeah, I'm excited for it. Everybody, thank you for joining us today on the Last Arc YouTube channel. And Fritz the Ditch is the newest member of the Last Arc. He's our behind-the-scenes man. He does all of our streamings and hosting them for us. So make sure you guys go follow him on Twitch. He will be playing tonight some Diablo right after this stream. So Diablo 4, I believe. That's all I got. You guys have a good day, okay?
Perfect. Thank you so much, Lucas. I'll definitely will see you tomorrow in the D&D thing or whatever.
See you, man.
Now, back to you, Cube. What were you saying?
So the fury of Mr. Bushido on the super chat about Yasov killing he left his family because he killed Celestial Dragon, which, you know, Celestial Dragons are considered to be gods. I just want to talk about, like, it would be an interesting parallel, Usopp being like God Usopp, so being a god in a sense, and Yasop killing one, you know what I mean? One becomes one and one takes the life of one, which I really like. So yeah, I thought it's an interesting
okay.
Here we go.
Real quick, I will mention, just with the Yasop super chat, since it was a super chat, I do think it's very interesting that we see in that chapter 0, we see Shanks meet Yasop first, and he's not the second in command. Every other crew we've met, they seems like their first person that they've met becomes their kind of, you know, co-captain or whatever, right-hand man. And Yasop does not fit that those kind of parameters. But before we get back onto that, I know Eldis has to go as well and get back to work soon. So he wanted to give a take on the swirls and the Holy Knights and stuff. And if he wants to talk about the super chat, whatever, Eldis, the floor is yours for whatever you want to do and promote at the end, whatever.
All right, so you guys brought up the topic, and unfortunately I wasn't available to speak on it, but the Holy Knights and the spirals in the background. So the basic deduction of why there's spirals in the background is that it's just a common manga effect when you want to make something suspenseful, and more specifically ominous or revolting. So it's either something's disgusting, like a nasty stew or a dirty diaper, or if it's like someone that is just cruel and evil. So that just goes to show you that these Holy Knights, you know, even though they're holy, quote unquote, they're probably pretty bad. But there could be something deeper. Yeah, there could be something deeper that involves.
Yeah, I mean, the devil fruit is pretty bad, right?
True, absolutely. The devil fruits, those spirals seem to be in correlation with them, for the most part at least. But also, 3-Day mentioned earlier that with the way it's drawn, they really almost look like they're deflecting almost that energy. Eldis sent in the chat a little bit ago. Excuse me, a little bit ago. The when we actually saw the devil fruits that Khalifa and Kaku ate or whatever, and the spirals actually kind of go through them in the background. They're not cut off in the same way that they are for these Holy Knights. So I wonder if they, you know, maybe they all have Blackbeard's power, you know, from the past, and they're all the the person that had the yami yami and can just shut it off in some way. Or I heard earlier, it might have been Els that said that they might be blessed by the sea and be able to deactivate devil fruits that way.
Yeah. So that panel I was right about to get into, and I'll explain the two below it. It's from that moment is right after Alabasta, when they're on the sea and they're on their way to Jaya. And they don't realize they're on their way to Jaya, but they're getting there. And that ship falls out the sky. That's where that quote, anything humans can think of can be possible, from Willie Gallen. So as the ship is falling down, Usopp's saying it's a dream, a bad dream. And then Chopper says, oh, it's a dream, that's a relief. So it kind of shows like the interesting dynamic of a dream, where it could be seen as good or bad. And what's interesting is Oda puts in like these dark spirals in parts of the panel. And when they actually end up going up into Skypiea, actually, no, let me take a step back. What kind of clued them into, or was a foreshadow of Skypiea, was the shadows in the sky, the giant shadows of the angels, but they didn't realize at the time what it was. So that's, again, they bring up the ideas of a shadow. Then at some point when they're on the ship, Luffy's like trapped on inside of a fish's mouth, and there's a rope, and Usopp says something funny. He's like, it's times like these that test the solidarity of our crew, which you guys keep on bringing up, like the idea maybe these knights betrayed and that's how they got their power. So I think it's really interesting that he says that at that moment. And in the very next page, it just shows a dark sky, and it's literally written darkness. So it's like really, Oda's specifically emphasizing, showing the dark spiral. He's talking about darkness. Then let's fast forward to when they actually discover how to get to Skypiea in the upstream. The moment that that's happening, the cloud, the Emperor Cloud comes, and then this guy says, night is coming. Not because literally the night is coming, because it's going to be so dark that it's just described as night is coming. And it's called an Emperor Cloud, which makes me think of Yonko.
Oh, good
so
point.
Then when they actually go up into the sky, there's another effect. It's that spiral effect. It's they're like, what's going on? The whirlpool is experiencing, and it shows that spiral effect. And I don't have the picture readily available, but that's actually the same spiral effect when Shanks got his arm bit off, and Luffy screaming into the sky. Yeah, so that spiral effect is something he's used many times, especially in certain moments. So I think it's starting to add into the idea of dreams, nightmare, and darkness, as well as light. Because if you're going to talk about darkness, you got to talk about light. So it's interesting when you say the holy night, it kind of looks like it could be deflecting off. So maybe they do represent light and our hockey masters. And that's actually a huge thing of my recent theories about how I believe Vegapunk discovered how to recreate those, because of understanding of light and whatnot. But I'm talking about the holy knights. So I mentioned earlier, they could be the shadow of the Gorosei. But it could also be the other way around. The Gorosei could be the ones that are the shadows of the night. For all we know, we don't really know the Gorosei all that well. For all we know, Shanks could be a shadow of this original person, and the Shanks we know hasn't been real. And it's funny because that's when Usopp is looking at the sky. He says it's a dream. It's all a bad dream. That's specifying that it's all a bad dream. Like, none of this is, one, it's not real, and two, it's bad. So that's a very interesting way to denote that. So that ship that fell out the sky is also important because it was called the Saint Bliss. And the characters, for the most part, referred to as saints are celestial dragons. So when they were inside the ship looking around, they found this picture of a lady, which was really kind of interesting, this emphasis on a picture. Whenever Oda draws random stuff, there's importance to it. You just got to figure out what the importance is. So when I think of a picture of a lady, I think of like Mother Carmel, who was a nun. And there was that whole thing about her picture having to be at the table, a picture of a lady and a nun. So then you got to start thinking about the Roman Catholicism. Why are they all called saints and whatnot? And then there's my theory about Jesus being Joy Boy and Mary, Joie being referred to some kind of holy mother, kind of in reference to the Virgin Mary. But here's where it all culminates to. Sorry, I'm trying to rush through this because I have to get back to work. So
You're good, bro.
The knights. I would argue the most famous order of knights would be the Knights of Templar, the most well-known. And what's interesting about the Knights of Templar are two things tied to them. One is the Holy Grail. And it's said to be within the Holy Grail. One of the interpretations is that it's the blood of Jesus in the form of wine. And then there's a second thing tied to the Knights of Templar, and it's the fact that what led to the end of the Knights of Templar was they were accused of believing in pagan worship. And they specifically said that they believed the Knights of Templar, it was the French, so that should ring some alarm bells, especially for Q. They said the Knights of Templar were worshiping Baphomet, which was a goat deity. So in my most recent theories, I said I believe Joy Boy is based off two particular characters. One was Jesus and the other was Baphomet, because I believe he has an sheep features, an afro and a curled horn. And he also represents the Good Shepherd. However, in one of my literally the most recent video is the kid theory about how he could be a sun god and what does he represent. And I said that because his ship is in reference to Victoria, it's most likely that there's like Luffy is based off Greek because Nika is from Greece and Victoria is from Roman. So whatever is attributed to Kid is Roman. And then again, this ties back to Roman Catholicism. So there could be multiple sun gods, and on top of that, there could be multiple Joy Boys. Because how do you get a title? Sometimes you say it yourself, and sometimes it's given to you. Just like with Sabo and the Flame Emperor. He didn't choose that for himself. They just named him that. So there could have been multiple people dubbed Joy Boy, whether voluntarily, whether involuntarily. I'm sure there's gonna be multiple. Maybe somebody deliberately wanted to be Joy Boy. Somebody was bestowed upon. Maybe somebody just happened by accident, like a Buggy or a Nusa. There's probably multiple type of Joy Boys that have different circumstances. And it could have happened all in the same era too, to make it even crazier. So ultimately, I do think there could be two Joy Boys, one based off a sheep and one based off a goat. The sheep one is more Greek related, the Nika, and the goat one is more Roman related, based off Victoria. And here's the best part. Do you know what a young goat is called?
A lamb?
No, that's a young sheep. A young goat is called a kid. And I rest my case. If you haven't seen that video, you should go check it out.
I'm gonna add something more. I'm gonna add something more because
Elders, if you have to go back to work right now, is there anything you want to plug or on your channel you got coming up? Or I know 3 Day can probably throw in a link to your channel in the chat, but is there anything, last words that you want to say before going?
So yeah, go watch my latest video if you haven't on Kid being a potential sun god. And what I have coming up, one is a video explaining why I think Sabo could have killed Cobra, and as well as talking more about how I believe Vegapunk was able to recreate seraphims. That theory originally started out with me saying I don't believe that seraphims ate devil fruits, which that's been proven correctly. So now that theory is just evolving to me, really going into how I was able to predict that, because all of that theory is nothing going to be new. I'm just going to actually really deliberately go in and explaining chakra, haki, frequencies, why I believe green blood is specifically the color green, and blah blah blah. But that's what I have.
Wait, Elites, before you leave, I have something to tell you. That I was going to say. We learned about the Knights of Templar in our history class when we were kids.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, mostly about they were the knights mostly known for during the Crusade, the cleansing.
Yes.
So you should check on the cleansing. Like in history class, their name, I think, if I remember, because I remember back in the day, I knew because of that. So you should see in our history class, they're known when you talk about cleansing, the Crusade. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, and then Oh, go on.
I was gonna say just a snippet, but I don't think the Marijoa has made allegiance to 20 kingdom, and this just one thing I know about them is that they were known at their peak during the Crusade to have 20,000 men, which I think the number 20 is very very interesting. It comes back.
Okay, there's many different forms of crusades along history too. So there's all sorts of ones that you could be tying off on or whatever. But Elders, it was great having you. As always, great ideas, great thoughts and everything. And everyone go check out Elders' channel. 3-Day, when she has a chance, she will drop a link in the chat here, as well as in the description and stuff like that. It was great having you, man. Thank you.
Greatly appreciated. Thank you, everyone that's watching, and thank you, everyone discussing on this call. I'll see you later.
Go like and follow.
Yeah, man.
Share that.
Real quick, we just had Vexy join. Vexy. I'll just call you Vexy. It's easier for me. But
Texas from Texas.
yeah, Vexy from Texas. Is there anything you want to comment on about what Elvis just said, or about anything we've talked about so far? I know you've been watching. The floor is yours.
Yeah, so I mean, real quick, just a shout out to all the goats in the chat and everybody here and everybody at the last arc. 3-Day, you're goated, and I have to say that first and foremost. Thank you, Ronnie, for the shout out earlier, and Adam for the intro. It's Vexus from Texas, the lurking legend. I was liking what like Elids was saying specifically. I have a lot of interesting speculation, but I haven't really formulated and pulled out all the receipts on like a sun god theory quite like that is. So I'm definitely gonna have to check out that video. You guys all should as well. TJ, I see you in the chat. That's my boy right there. My main takeaway, I don't have too much to add to what Elids was saying, but my main takeaway from this last chapter is that, I see a lot of people in the streams right now in all their reactions trying to power scale the Holy Knights or the God's Knights, and I think that it's kind of interesting because we have so little, but I do like to speculate. I know you guys spent some time on that. I just wanted to say my piece, and I agree with 3-Day. Specifically, she was saying that they have to be like hockey beasts, just like complete monsters when it comes to this, and I think that the Zoro parallel is that you guys brought up. I've been lurking in the chat the whole time, so I just picking up on little pieces that we have touched. You guys have touched on previously. I think that's amazing, and I think that we were just given information, in volume 4 billion about observation killer. I think they might be like the plot device that introduces something like an armament killer, and then maybe because the Yami Yami no Mi is so interesting, and it is said to have abilities to cancel out devil fruit powers and things like that. What if we find out that that's not actually something that the Yami Yami has, and that's something that Teach and other hockey beasts might have the ability to tap into outside of a devil fruit?
I like that a lot. I like that a lot.
So like a sea stone aura or something like that is like something I put in the chat a lot earlier, and I know 3-Day was vibing with it. So I just wanted to throw that out there, see how you guys react.
Or even something even crazy. Maybe we really don't know much about sea stone in general. We don't know how it's I guess we know how it's made, but we don't really know how it's used and utilized and stuff like that. I wonder if they could be like sea stone weapon masters, and they're able to use that so the devil fruits have no effect or whatever on them. They all seem to have swords of some sort.
I was also thinking of something along the lines, real quick, just 5 seconds, and I'm done for a bit. But what if they're like sea stone cyborgs?
Ooh, I like that.
Stop.
Actually,
like that too.
I always found it very interesting if you think about it. I think they do have something like sea stone, but then not just because Umu means the sea backwards, Umi. But if you think about it, all the bubble stuff do connect to people who have allegiance to world government, and Wano, who was known to be an enemy to world government, they naturally were built creating sea stone at Wano, And I find it very interesting that everything was around sea stone. Like they even had nails. That's how Hawkins got law. He can use his fruit because of that. So I'm actually wondering if it's now more like in the bubble technology, like the core stuff about it, and that sea stone was like people fighting against them,
If you go back to Skypiea, I forgot his name, but Conus's dad, I'm blanking on his name right now, but he had told us a little bit about Pyrobloin, and back then we had no idea what true context that held until obviously we get further down into Dressrosa and then Wano, giving us more information on that as well. But I believe in the manga he said that it's something that has to do with volcanoes erupting and sending keratin into the sky, and it gets like enveloped into the clouds and things like that. And that's like how like those clouds are formed, but they're formed by Pyrobloin specifically. And then we hear it again mentioned in Egghead, and Vegapunk knowing everything that he knows, and we obviously have barely touched the surface of all of that. He still has so many things to reveal to us, but I think Oda's only going to give us what's convenient when it's convenient. He's not going to be like the full mouthpiece that he should be, and he's been built up to this whole time. But I think that, yeah, like it said that Wano is supposed to be a place where Seastone has, came from, but I don't think that means that it's the only place. And they are specifically known to have the only skilled craftsmen to be able to, refine it down into smaller things like Seastone bullets and nails, like you said, Cube. But I think that could be very well ancient technology, as we now know that Wano dates back to ancient kingdom times, and and beyond probably. So I think that might be part of the reason why they're wanted, or like they're an enemy and like things like that, and they're not allied with the world government, is because like I think Seastone and obviously the poneglyphs has something to do with all of that.
And I would not to jump in, and I say that if you think about Elids was there, but he has this whole theory about how Haki from 2 years ago, and if you look at his theory, he does talk about how Pika, who was not known for his Haki, he naturally was able to create full body, in the sense like if you think about it, Wano is also known as the place where swordsmen are bred, which are known for what? Black blades. So I do feel like, and blades are in a sense, made of earth, metal in a sense. So I do feel like maybe in Wano they understood differently how Haki works on stone, on earth itself. Maybe world government use water and they use earth. That's an interesting. Too bad Elids is not there. He would have had a field work what I just said.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to check out his channel, because I was definitely picking up a lot of what he was saying.
There are 3 to 4 parts to his video of 20 minutes, so it's a total like an hour 20. It sounds a lot, but actually he goes deep in everything pre-time skip and post-time skip, and he explains like, especially there's one with Rokushiki where he explains how Rokushiki has a lot of Haki-derived stuff, and if you look deep on it, it's quite interesting. So yeah, that's what I was thinking about. If you think about Black Blades as well, is also known in Wano for being swordsmen. I'm not shocked for that, like they understood how Earth works in the world, in a sense, like nature itself.
True. Good point. I like that a lot too, with tying into like the earth and sea elements, and then we're just missing the air element now.
Yeah, and I think that all of those little tiny loose details, I think that I kind of hope that the God's Knights are going to be something that gives us a lot more context and reveals the new power ceiling, I guess. A lot of people are wanting to know if they're Admiral level, if they're Yonko level, or if they're...
Are they strong?
Yeah, I think they have to be. They absolutely have to be. With what Dragon said about them, I mean, honestly.
Yes.
Yeah,
I need to see things. I need to see some feats.
I need to see everybody in the chat making sure you guys like D's stream, because these guys deserve it. Thank you so much for putting me on as well, but definitely everybody show some love and like D's stream for the boys at the last arc and the ladies at the last arc.
Well, thank you, man. Thank you for popping on, because you got some great ideas coming up here in the 9th inning.
That boy Vex be cooking. Wait for him.
Yeah, Vex, just so you know, Shrida is not a lady. She's the queen of the last arc, just so you know.
She's the Moon Princess.
Moon Princess 3, yes.
The queen herself.
And also shout out to, I see some Craw Hat Grand Fleet members in the chat. Definitely, if you know, you know. But yeah, I've done enough, talking. That's just kind of I want to see some more speculation on the God's Knights and get a lot more of from them pretty soon, and Big News Morgans for sure. And that's the things I'm most excited about.
Speculation on the God Knights, huh? So do you think the Gorosei is the highest tier of God Knight? do you think you have to start as a God Knight? Past something like say, let's say you first start off as a God Knight and then you get an immortality surgery and you end up directly working under Imu and become a Gorosei member.
I have
Well,
something to that actually.
Considering that they sent a Gorosei to deal with just a Yonko and Luffy, I would say the Holy Knights are probably above that.
So I have actually something.
I don't like the sentence.
Above that. Ooh, I like that.
Oh, here, let's let Ragnar go. I know he's been quiet for a minute.
Let's go, Ragnar. Let's go.
I'll go after
No,
you.
I wasn't saying much. I was just saying I don't like where you phrase that. Just the Yonko. That is like, damn.
Yeah.
What you saying? Just the Yonko?
Yeah, respect. Go
Well,
ahead,
I mean, just going by the story where we're at in power scaling wise. I'm not a big power scaler, but at this point in the story, Yonkos are like the Tsuchibaki. It's just the Yonkos. I don't consider Shanks quite, I think he's kind of above that level as well, to be whatever. But the rest of them, it's like I don't think they're, it's like they're kind of the past now almost, as far as what we should be looking at power-wise. That's why I'm not surprised we got these Holy Knights as like, the next kind of big bad level to be like, okay, well, we're past the Yonko leaders now. I would even say that Whitebeard doesn't fall into what I'm talking about when I say just Yonko. But it's like this new level. It's like, they're not. We've seen two of them beat. We've seen three of them beat. Everybody but Shanks, and then now Blackbeard. But it's like, they're not the same threat level to me as a reader. And that's why we're going to need new things like the Holy Knights or the Gorosei finally having those type reveals to the reader to make us really go, oh, okay, this is like the next power level. We just reached Super Saiyan. This is Super Saiyan 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
But Cube, what were you going to say?
Okay, so this actually sounds very interesting because I actually thought of this idea. What if, because I said like the Fabigo was the proof that there are people with Celestial Dragons, so Gorosei could be Celestial Dragons, and seeing how the Fabigo had like crazy gift as a fighter with all three hockey types, advanced or not. The fact that he comes from a Celestial Dragon, so they all look like, most of them look like a wind would drop them in a second. You know what I mean? Like they don't look like they can resist anything. And you think about it, what if the Gorosei actually now were former Holy Knights, and very interesting, Game of Thrones introduced that, but you also had that in Europe lore of knights. When you're from a big family, royal family in a sense, and you become a knight, you reject everything about you cannot be a knight and a king at the same time. You have to choose between one of them, and only after you reject being a knight that you become maybe like you have to be. It's after a holy knight is a stepping stone to become a Gorosei, in a sense. And I looked at the numbers. So we know that there is exactly 9 Holy Knights, and now we know that there's 5 Gorosei. That would make the number 14. The only other organization in the world of One Piece that paralleled that is Crocodile's Barrack Work. He was number 0, and then there were 13 numbers. That's the number 14. He had exactly the same number as the Holy Knights with the Gorosei, which I find very interesting.
Well, I mean, would you count in with the calculations? Because that would put 15, right?
No, because there are 13. It goes up to Mr. 13. I checked. There's
Shout
no
out
Mr.
to
13.
or the
And Mr.
Like-
0 is basically the extra one.
Yeah, like
Not in the
Ian
double.
is like the extra one though. So like,
Yeah.
like
Oh yeah, I see what you mean. But like I did, my whole thing was very interesting. What if like Crocodile was trying to recreate in a way a format that the world government had, because he said with his Barrack Work and his plans he would rule the world. Like maybe that's how they rule the world. They came together.
I really like that. And real quick, we got a $10 super chat from Oz the Phenom that we in this team. What's up, boys? So thank you so much for the donation. If you have a question or something you want to answer, just put it in the chat underneath. You don't need to donate again or whatever. We'll see it or whatever. But along those same lines that Q was just saying, I absolutely 100% agree that Crocodile was recreating most likely what Imu did to rule the world. Same number of people, same number of whatever. And if the definition of a utopia is that everyone has an assigned role and job. That's like what its actual technical definition is. It's kind of, a fancier word for slavery. You don't get to choose which one you do. You don't get to choose your job or your dream or whatever. And that could very well be kind of the world that Emu's trying to run, compared to what Luffy might be trying to do or whatever.
And you think about it, they all had specific names. The females, Miss All Sunday. We get a lot of Jesus lore in One Piece, and she's called Miss All Sunday. Then we have Miss Golden Week.
And
Miss
even
Golden
with that, like Mary Joa, like the official English translation, Joa, Joa, in every language means year. So you have a Happy New Year, basically, is what Mary Joa means. And all these clues to holidays and points in the calendar, I think, could all be pointing to that.
So
and you think about
another
Miss
thing,
Merry Christmas as well. Another Jesus.
Oh, you say it, Moog?
Christmas.
Sorry.
And like Christmas was actually like previously a pagan holiday known as Saturnalia, which is gonna bring me back to what Ronnie's original question was like I think that specifically and Miss Merry Christmas did not have a devil fruit power. Oda went out of his way to tell us that as well. Is like I think that Saturn might have, and I mean Saturn.
That's Miss Golden Week. Miss Merry Christmas had the bowl for the bowl.
Yeah, you're right. Regardless, it was a segue. I was trying to thing there, but it didn't work. But
no worries, bro.
With Saturn specifically, we know like in Greco-Roman, like parallel mythology and things like that, his domain is time. And I think that kind of like how there is the devil fruit that can perform the perpetual youth surgery, I think that like that devil fruit had to spawn from a previous figure. Like you can't have the sun god Nika fruit without having the sun god Nika first, right? Like that's what they're kind of putting down with these like mythical type of figures. So what if, hear me out, Saturn or somebody who maybe got their heart switched and like Saturn got this power put into him and he is independent of a devil fruit but is still able to have like a domain over time. And that's how we've seen like Cobra aged like 200 years just over the time skip, but the Gorosei look the same if not better than whenever they were at Ohara like 22 years ago. So it's like a lot of speculation throughout the years, and with us getting his name specifically like first, I think that might come into play. Like there's a lot of speculation that he might have this devil fruit or that devil fruit, and like I think that it's just hockey. Like honestly, he might, like I don't know, he might have like a god fruit of his own, which would be cool. But I'm also like I brought it up in the VC the other night in Ronnie's Discord, talking about like, well, we've seen god fruits. What about like Titan fruits and things like that? But whatever it may be, I think that he might be the reason, because of the time domain that he specifically is, well, not him specifically, but his namesake specifically is attributed to. So like I think that could be something that's similar to the perpetual youth surgery, and why Doflamingo was trying to get a hold of Law is because he might have known about it, and the perpetual youth surgery could just be like a small fraction of what's actually available in that kind of power set, right? And I think that the God's Knight might be kind of like eternal puppets, like they're prisoners to the abilities of the Gorosei.
Absolutely. Honestly, Vexy, you should check out my channel. We're on the same page with a lot of these body snatching and mind snatching and pagan stuff, whatever. And I shared in the chat with us from that very first chapter, 1054, after like the month-long break or whatever. We see a character in the middle with it says Mayday. Now Mayday, yeah, it's a marine term, like everyone abandoned ship, whatever. But Mayday Queen, who's usually represented by a crown of straws and roses, is someone who was used to be, in some versions, a virgin sacrifice that was to bring the summer on, which is what I think ultimately Luffy is basically. But looking at that same page, we were talking earlier about those spirals with the devil fruits, and that maybe they could be a sign of betrayal as far as the Holy Knights, and if they betrayed, a former captain. And we see Ben Beckman, I guess, right here with those same spirals.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to double check the direction of which that they're going and whatnot, and because I mean we've seen like the Yami Yami going in the opposite direction as the Gomu Gomu, air quotes, and then Sanji's spirals reversing as well and things like that. So that might be like a big thing, but I haven't done the research yet. Go ahead, Q. I'm sorry.
I thought it was Boog might want to talk for a second.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Shout
Go
out
ahead.
to Par in the chat. Can y'all shout out Par?
Yeah, Par Vision.
Shout out.
Thank you Say, Parvision, thanks for showing up. Honestly.
Yes, thank you for showing up, and you have to show up next time right when we start because 3-Day was on in the beginning. But
You just missed 3-Day. You just missed her. You just missed her.
Real quick, if you want to say something, Mugo, what we were talking about, we did get a super chat question we'll jump into after you talk. Okay, he just
Oz
not one to
just asked the question. He says, "How y'all feel about the God Knights being a part of Shanks' Celestial Dragon name, which is the figure length?" I think he was mentioning.
If you go on, yeah.
Yeah, big thank you to Ozd Phenom for another $5 super chat. Even though you didn't need to, we would have answered your question from the last one. But how y'all feel about the God's Knights being part of the Shanks Celestial Drag name? I forgot it.
Figureland or something. I think it's Figureland.
Figureland, the last name Figureland.
I mean,
I don't know, man. I mean, the silhouettes in One Piece are normally quite sort of vague. You had Blackbeard and Kaido and Big Mom, and yeah, I wouldn't put too much stock in it. It's possible. It could be just like foreshadowing that Shanks is like connected to the Celestial Dragons. It doesn't mean he's a God Knight. I don't know. Could be, could not be, but
I think what he might be referring to is his last name being Figureland, which figure means barber. I think there's lots of stuff to the song Penny Lane, and also the barber of I can't think of the play, but it's the one that Bugs Bunny has fun with doing all the play stuff in the Looney Tunes cartoon. The barber of something. I think he's a murderer. It's not Sweeney Todd, but there's a different one. But I do think it's interesting his last name or whatever. Does anyone else have any kind of ideas about Shanks' last name and what it might be connected to?
Yeah,
Well, I
so the God Knights. Go ahead. No, you go first.
I mean, real quick, there's like, just because there's a lot of speculation that there's like Nega Shanks, as like a part of or like Shanks' dad or something, like because
Exactly.
the silhouette that looks like him. I don't think all of them are like literally brothers or anything like, but there might be one that's also a Figureland, but I don't know.
What if
It
there's a
seems like,
representative from each family that makes up the God Knights?
That'd be interesting. Yeah, I like that actually.
Like that's why I was saying it could be Shanks' dad type thing in the silhouette, because like what if everybody's family has a member that's make up the God Knights that's directly under the emo?
I mean, it would explain his special privileges with the Gorosei at least.
Yeah, I mean it's a start. Like
what if like the 5, because we know Celestial Dragons there's at least 20 kings, but what if like the major families are like 9 and each have a representative as one of the Holy Knights?
Exactly.
True.
I like that.
Because I don't think they're all equal. I kind of specify with the court system with the Holy Knights handling it. If they have a court system, means that they have rank, hierarchy, those kind of stuff. They're not like
And
all
then
the same
Shanks'
level.
father or Shanks' family sits at the top of that, the Figureland family.
The Flamingo family is too, because if you think about it, the one that slapped the other Celestial Dragon, who seems to be, at least it didn't seem like he was going to get any, he didn't care about the repercussion. He could be one of those 9 major families, his rank, he outranks the other ones.
Specifically, like that's when they said that they have to get the God's Knights involved, is because he smacked another Celestial Dragon. So, I mean, I get that, but I just wanted to add that too.
Yeah. Like but I mean, like maybe there's a reason why he felt so. If you think about it, he acted like a humble, but he had no problem slapping another Celestial Dragon. That was saying, like maybe he was that, he felt like that confident because he knows the rules are not the same as for him. Like he's in
Otohime unlocked his humanity, and that's why he isn't thinking like a Celestial Dragon. True. And I think that might have something to do with it. Really.
True. Good point. It's a really good point.
Thanks for the question, Haas.
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you so much, guys. And yes, anyone, if you want your question answered, before anyone else's, make sure we see it. A super chat is the route to go. It's split between all of us in the last arc, so we all appreciate it, and thank you so much for your contributions and donations. And I'm looking at the chat right now, and from Keb, who's a great contributor on the last arc Discord, and he's one of our mods. I think he's usually a mod on YouTube and stuff. But he's saying that the katakana of Figureland is Figurando, and the Figa part is a way to write figure in Katana or Katakana. So I do wonder, like a figurehead, like of a ship, or a figurehead of a mouthpiece of a government or a kingdom. All that stuff might be very, very kind of possible, and in the the back door or so of what Shanks is going to be revealing.
That kind of reminds me of the Tontata. How they add like land at the end, like maybe it's
good point.
yeah, like maybe it's like almost like a red herring, or like I don't know, like I don't really think it would be something quite like that, but maybe that has something to do with it, like which would be really. I mean, I don't think that because Nolan did not come first, probably, like this family probably predates that, but maybe Nolan is like a reference to this instead of vice versa, right?
True. And real quick, Oz D Phenom donated once again $2, saying working right now. So wish I could be more involved, but you are doing.
You're involved enough.
The, super chats and being super involved that way, man.
Okay. Go.
Yeah, you're putting in work, that's for sure.
Yeah, we appreciate you, bro. Honestly, we appreciate the love. Honestly.
And Vexy, what were you just saying? I had idea and I lost it.
I was just talking about the Tontatas, specifically referring to like everyone as like Uso land and Luffy land and like things like that. Go ahead.
Okay. And something I wanted to mention along those same lines or whatever is like something I've kind of seen that I haven't really seen anyone talk about. But when you look at that Jaya map, the Jaya Island, if you look at the letters, it's IS1 AND. It's not a L, it's a 1 that's in the map or whatever of the Jaya stuff. And I do really wonder how much, like, okay, was that the first island? And the next ones, they start adding other numbers that translate into different, words in Japanese or whatever, or in English that we just don't know that it's a 2 or a 3 or whatever here. I always think that's kind of interesting and might tie into all this land stuff.
Yeah, I think that Oda's just doing a wonderful job of giving us just little tiny breadcrumbs, and I can't wait for the payoff on that, like all of this, obviously. And there's so many different like trails that we could follow. And so I know you guys have already, kind of talked about it, but I just wanted to, ask again, I guess, while I'm here, what is the one like thread, like the plot line that you're looking forward to the most, that you probably think will happen within the next like 2 or 3 chapters? Like there's some stuff that's way out there, but as far as some immediate payoff, what are you really looking forward to? Because there's a lot to choose from.
Yeah, whoever wants to start, I guess we'll. Right now, you haven't talked for a minute. If you're available, do you want to start first, and then we'll just go around in a circle?
I'm talking about the chapter and predictions.
What we think in the next 3 or so or 4 chapters, what we're most looking forward to if there's a reveal of some sort.
Well, shoot me last. I'm not gonna lie. You cooking this.
Okay, then we'll start with Cube.
Can you repeat the question? I was just reading the chat at the same time.
What are you most looking forward to reveal wise in the next 3 or 4 chapters or so?
I wanted to know about Kuma's flashback. I'm sorry. They teased us.
Thank you.
They teased us. We saw Bonnie go inside it, and then the next time they saw Bonnie was in a flashback. That wasn't Kuma's flashback. That was the worst.
True.
So yeah,
true.
for me it's Kuma's flashback, because I know we're gonna get the rest of the stuff eventually, but I just hope we won't get like Kaido. We're getting a snippet of something, then nothing else.
Oh, yeah, good point. Whatever was going on with Kuma, he's had plans since the beginning, I'm sure. So I'm sure it's going to be a reveal. I don't know about the next 4 chapters or so, but I'm definitely looking forward to that as well. Ryan, do you want to go next?
Does it have to be 4 chapters? Because like I got something I really want to see, but I don't know if it's going to be in the next 4 chapters.
Way out there, but like something that you can realistically see, maybe like within this volume, right?
So it probably won't happen till we leave Egghead, but I need Elbaf and I need Usopp there and just glowing up.
Yeah. Do you think that Usopp takes anything away from Egghead as far as like tech wise? Like Usopp and Frankie are probably geared most to benefit from this island, right? Like, so maybe
Right,
that's
exactly, Vex. So I always wanted Usopp and Frankie to like study under Vegapunk and like build off of that, like with their own inventions and stuff, like to be able to get his knowledge and incorporate that into their stuff that they already do. If I could get that, that would be amazing. It's just going to be hard to see for me right now because I also believe Stella Body's going to die. That's how Luffy might fail his mission, his promise to him, get him off the island. So, also with that being said, I also could see the Straw Hats getting a Vegapunk member, a satellite.
Okay.
I mean, Atlas gave Luffy food, so
Knock him off.
honestly, Moog, what are you looking forward to? Just some immediate payoff, like not some end game stuff, but just like some within the next couple chapters or in this volume, right?
Yeah. So, probably, I think something that we're probably likely to get literally the next chapter is whatever Cobra wanted to see the Gorosei about. I really, really want to know because I'm betting it's got something to do with the Alabasta Poneglyph. At the very least, that's going to come out. And we saw what happened last time the world government found out a country was hiding a Poneglyph. It was O'Hara. They got fucking busted cool. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen to Alabasta, but, you know, Alabasta's going to be in deep shit. But even, like, outside of that, like, I bet it's... I don't think it... Because we know what was written on that Poneglyph now was stuff about Pluton being in Wano. And I don't think that is what he's talking about. I bet it's something relating to him or relating to Vivi or relating to Alabasta or his history. And if that's the case, it's... I mean, there's a lot of theories going around about, you know, Vivi having some kind of connection to Uranus or like the rain. And if that's what he figured out, then that would explain why, you know, Wapol had to like sort of hide her, kidnap her away from Marijua. Yeah, I think, yeah, 1084 or 1085, that's likely to get revealed. And I'm really like looking forward to that.
For sure.
Definitely. Bexy, what are your ideas as a start of the question, I guess? What are you looking forward to?
I mean, there's so many different plot threads that it's so hard to even keep track. And honestly, like I was loving what was happening on Hachinosu and things like that. And I'm loving the Kuma, you know, flashback like little bits that we're getting, and I definitely want to see that. But I think the thing that I'm most excited for of the like 2 or 3 dozen different plot threads that are all converging in this crazy arc is just, and like I said earlier, I don't think we're actually going to get it until it's convenient, but I need Vegapunk to just tell us everything he knows, like everything, not just like 1 or 2 little vague sentences or like little jokes. Like I need to know everything this man knows. Like I need to. And
I have a feel it's going to be very similar to Clover, where right when he's about to, he's you know, snipped.
Yeah, I mean, if that happens, I mean, I'm not even gonna be mad, but I'm gonna be sad. That's for sure. You know. What about you, Adam?
Honestly, for what's going on, I've said a little bit where I think like the next chapter, since it's gonna be a break week, is probably gonna end with Sabo or something popping in, and he finds, you know, Cobra dead, and or do we see maybe Kuma kill them, something crazy along those lines. But I'm kind of wondering, because we'll know in the next couple of chapters, is this going to be like a 7 to 10 chapter flashback, or is it just going to be kind of like Ace's mini one before Marineford, where it's only good, you know, 2 or 3 chapters of this flashback? I'm interested to find that out, because I'm honestly more interested in getting back to the main story. What's going on with Egghead? What's going on with Kuma's memories? What's going on in Hachinosu? I'm honestly much more interested in all that stuff, which I didn't think I'd be saying a year ago. I'm more interested in all that stuff than I am what happened to Mary Joa.
I think I would really like it if it were like an Odin style flashback, you know, and that was the last time we were really for so long we were away from the Straw Hats.
True. So that's what I'm saying. For me, I'm looking forward to finding out in these next couple of chapters, is it going to be one of those fully fleshed out, full flashbacks, or are we just going to get a few, you know, chapters and it cuts off of the, you know, the big information and then we leave? I will say, probably the thing I'm most looking forward to in the next couple of chapters is to find out exactly what Sabo's trying to say. and he saw someone on the throne. I really want to hear who he saw, whether it was Emu or whether it was Stelly, whether it was someone else aside from, you know, who we're thinking it is, who we're aware of, you know, dramatic irony wise, should be sitting on there compared to who he saw sitting on there.
Hey Vex, can I go again? Because I got to actually think about it.
Go for it, bro.
I'm sorry, y'all. I don't want to skip line. Ragnar still needs to go. And
Go ahead, and then Ragnar can go. I think he's still thinking.
All right, so I just jotted some stuff down. So, first one, 2 words. Logia Awakening.
Oh, there you go.
I need to see that.
Yeah, like
I need to see that. You think Kuzan might go crazy? You think Kizaru? No. Oh, I need to say something.
Next, do you think that could be what Karasu is?
Oh,
potentially. I think there's an argument that
awakening.
There's an argument that he's a special Paramecia, kind of like
That's what I thought, a special.
But I mean, yeah, obviously it looks like a Logia. I don't know. It could go either way because Oda's picky like that. But I see what you're saying there too, Moog, for sure.
Yeah, like Soot is something that could be like a Logia element or not. You know, I think he's keeping it vague.
And we haven't actually gotten the official translations like technically yet, so I mean, I'm waiting on that as well.
Wait for the viz.
We got like 3 different names for Prince Grus's fruit, like through the different, you know, scans and then the official, and so that's something I'm waiting on for sure because that could also help me speculate. But no, Logia Awakenings is a fantastic thing, and I think we could very well see that pretty soon. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, what else you got written down there, Ronnie?
Lubu just said Punk Hazard, we got to see it, but we didn't really get to see it. Like, I need to see it, Lubu. You feel me?
Well, that's also not confirmed technically. Like, I see what you're saying, you know, but I have to be like some actually guy. Like, it's never actually been stated, so like maybe we'll get confirmation on that soon, hopefully.
All right. So next point. So I just want to be quick. So I'll go. Next point. Will Garp survive? Will Garp die? Will Shanks die?
Oof.
None of the above.
None? Okay.
I don't think any of those characters are going to die soon. No.
You don't think to move the story or anything like that?
I would say look at how much the stories move just having some of their power revealed.
Right. I mean, I'm not saying right now. Yeah, you're right. You're right. That won't happen like right now.
I mean,
that'll be further down the line if anything.
Yeah, if this is going to be something that's like set up for another Marineford, when you really look at it, we got like Sengoku's power reveal and Whitebeard's, you know, like a true scope revealed and things like that. But they still ended, like Whitebeard did still end up kicking the bucket. Spoilers, but like and that was like a narrative device to lift the ceiling, so that going into the time skip or post time skip and things like that, we had like more goals and like we had shown that the Straw Hats were not quite enough, you know, through Saba Odi and things like that. They kind of cleaned shop in East Blue and like in the first part of the it was more contention, and the Straw Hats it was more evident that they needed to step up their game, and then they saw the true ceiling, right?
And we're getting the like kind of the opposite, the same thing revealed, but in an opposite way, where instead of seeing the Straw Hats directly face these powers and come up way, way short, we're kind of seeing, okay, we have a good idea maybe of the max levels right now of the Straw Hats because they just had this huge battle in Wano. Now we're seeing what doesn't even seem to be the max level of a lot of these other characters that we've known forever, and using that in the same way to go, okay, can the Straw Hats match up to this? Can they stack up against all these great things we're seeing? And the fact that we're not sure, I think, is doing the same exact thing what you're saying about Marineford kind of being a save point, and then, you know, it gets harder.
And I'm going to say what I was going to say about Garp specifically real quick, and this might pivot. If so, I'm sorry, we'll get right back to what you're going to say, but like it's like I don't think that Garp is going to be the narrative device that a lot of people do, especially not for Luffy, maybe for Kobe, but like this is my second favorite character in the entire series, so I'm not saying this because I'm a hater. I'm saying this because I think it would be better writing, but I think Rayleigh dies before Garp does.
I could definitely see that. Definitely see that.
Ooh. Who's your first?
Hold
Since you said he's your second, who's your
Just,
first?
hey, real quick, Ronnie. Ragnar, did you have any topics on the upcoming chapters, and then we'll jump into what Vexy just said?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'm a fit in almost every single chapter accurately. You can ask Cube, I can confirm this. I predicted a Dofi popping up. Even though I didn't get Dofi the way I wanted, still got Dofi. I
That's
predicted
good.
Shanks. I'm not even playing. I predicted Kizaru. I didn't predict Gorus. I predicted Kizaru. Right?
You
I
cooking?
predicted a whole lot of stuff happening in all these chapters. And my thing is, I'm thinking that we finally get a bit of our best guy that's been slept on. But Sim, like, he's one of the very few people in the entire series that we show love to, but we don't really know why. And I think Yarouge comes in.
Ooh,
Oh,
good point. Good point.
That is a good point.
I think he's got it
Huh?
up now.
Got to.
Now,
whole
now
nother
that I've
can of
said
worms.
that,
What else
not
will
just
he?
Yarouge, I think we get the return of Capone. And this goes into another theory of mine, but I think we get, and this is again 3 to 4 chapters. And I think that this all happens in between that time. Capone shows up again, not like as a main detail, like a quick sideline thing. One other thing you see. If I can, I don't know, 3 or 4 chapters. All right, I want to see Weevil again. I want to see the situation Weevil's in.
Wait, what happened, right?
Right? I want to see the situation Weevil's in currently. Did Marco go for him? I think we're gonna go because I don't think we go back to Bonnie until Oda is ready to end the entirety of the Egghead arc. I don't think we go back, and like at all. I've said this multiple times. I don't think the minute we go back to Bonnie's flashback is when Oda is ready to end the arc. That's it.
Yeah,
Not
I'm
even
gonna jump.
halfway, a little
I'm gonna.
glimpse.
I'm gonna jump in right after Nostradamus Ragnar and his predictions. The last time one of the son of Whitebeard was captured by the Marines, it was Ace and he was sent to Impel Down. All I'm saying is we're seeing this Impel Down 2.0 coming in, but more and more the powers are there. They're saying that, you know.
Yeah,
Just
with
dropping-
Weevil going in there.
Well,
True.
here's the thing. I don't think Weevil is in Impel Down when he gets set free. I think just like a few other prisoners we know, it's during his transfer. So he's being transferred
like the
from
Barkwork
one place.
agents.
Yeah, by CP 1 through 8, most likely. Right? He's gonna be transported, and like that's where maybe Marco pulls a few strings with a few old allies. You know, we might see the return of this sounds crazy, but we might see Carrot helping Marco free freaking Weevil. Carrot, she's the Duke of Zona. I'm saying, like,
All I'm gonna
Marco
say
has
is
the
this.
connections to Nekomamushi and Dogsworth. I'm not really sold on that one, but I really think Weevil pops up. I think if it's not Weevil, Capone. If it's not Capone, it's Mad Monk. I think those 3-4 characters right there. Oh, also I said Carrot, right? Yeah, Carrot. I think Carrot somehow comes in. This is my biggest one. I think we finally get not a flashback, but current timeline of what's happening in Whole Cake Island. We see Katakuri. Bring my man back in the story, man.
That's a good point.
Let's go, Ragnar. Let's go.
Well, hey, so we've been streaming now for almost 3 hours. So we're gonna do one last question, and I just want to, if there's any other super chats you want to get in, donations, questions you're dying to get answered, now is the time. But we're gonna be wrapping up soon. I got one last question for these guys, and then that's it from us. But we wanted to talk about a little bit with the live action show this week, and I'm not a huge believer in that it's gonna be good or not. And I'm really it's gotta prove to me that it's worth watching. But we did this week get the reveals of those Marine uniforms. So what were all of your guys' thoughts on if you liked them or not? I actually really thought they looked very good and was like, okay, this is a good. I don't like Luffy wearing shoes. This is a good step in the right direction as far as having some, nice canonicity combined with practicality.
Can you post that in the chat?
What? Oh, the Marine uniform pictures? Yes, I can post them. I think it. I'll get the picture right now.
Personally,
I
I
see these shoes.
everybody saw the early release of the Marine uniform, but there was a leak of like the taping of the Marine standing in like a line, and the Marine uniform did not look like it. So they've made changes to make it look better, and I think it's an improvement on what I saw before, if anything. So
I
it
agree.
shows that they actually are like determined to make it look good. I've heard from other people that they don't have high hopes of this, but I personally think I can't fault them. Even if it comes out as a 5 out of 10, they did literally everything they could to
Everything
make
they
the show
could.
over. And the people behind the show were really fans of One Piece. The people they casted, if you ask me, it doesn't get much better of a cast. Like, you literally can't think of a cast much better than the one we have. And but yeah, that's the funding is pretty much solid. For especially for a first season, there's not many shows that can compare to a first season with this much funding. So I think it's going to be a solid first season, and I think the fans should be understand it's the first season, and they usually invest 3 times as much in the second season. Like, give it the first season.
Well, I mean, my favorite part of One Piece kind of is that beginning and start of. So, to me, it's already in this perfect form with manga. So I don't even really, like I said, watch the anime or anything like that. But I do, like I said, I do think that these Marine uniforms are. I just put them in the chat for you guys. I do think they're a step in the right direction with design wise, and kind of not improving, I wouldn't say, but making what we've seen in the manga with the black pants and the white shirts, and when Zoro gets rescued in the beginning, they made them look kind of cool. Honestly, and they kind of look a cool uniform.
These shits are fire.
They're actually quite cool. Quite cool.
It's like it's like you said before, Adam. It's a step in the right direction because we'd seen previously that this is getting One Piece to be a global phenomenon for ages to come. Because if you really think about it, like the first episode of One Piece is like over 23 years old at this point, and I mean, though the manga, in a sense it's evolved in its art style slightly and whatnot, and that's a little bit more timeless. What's accessible to most people is anime these days, and it's been exploding and getting more popular, and especially Netflix, specials and things like that. And then this would be something like it's going to be so hard to get a kid who's born now, like in 2023, whenever they grow up and they're 10 years old and we're in 2033, to get them to watch something that's over 30 years old, and then try and keep up every step of the way. I think this is going to be something that Oda sees as something is vitally important for this to succeed. And he has told us that, he's pushed back a little bit, and he's tried to, make sure he signs off on everything. And if he doesn't like it, it's going to get changed. And so I think that it's like a long shot because we've never seen it before, but I really am hopeful that this is going to be just far and away the best live action adaptation we have ever seen. Like
I'm hoping for that. I'm hoping for that too. And in Oda, we trust. I definitely trust him.
I think most are.
I do something like that. And
just one thing about the live action I'm going to talk about, because you all said what I said, but I would like to. I do like they made adjustment. Like, I like Adam. I wasn't a fan of Luffy not wearing the sandals, but then when I got the explanation with the actors who plays Nami, which said that even the stunt doubles was too dangerous for them, so I do like that. And now with the Marine stuff, is that they're not scared to make the adjustment, and they just say how it is,
Right.
Like, so it's they're trying to at the same time protect the the cast, but at the same time respecting the fandom. It's like it seems like the perfect balance, from what we've seen until now. And like Adam, I'm open-minded. I'm not gonna judge it, but I have to wait to see it the full season to give my to say if I'm happy to have it or not. That's how I see it as well.
As you should.
And we did get a last super chat once again from Oz the Phenom. Great stream, boys. Can't wait for the next one. Much love. Thank you so much for all your donations today and your great questions. Like I said, we're going to be trying to do this either Tuesday or Wednesday nights in the future, and then maybe some random Saturdays or whatever. Usually this is the D&D day, but this week we got to do it tomorrow. So for everyone watching, please jump in tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be doing the next the next segment or session of the One Piece D&D and the Smiling Lion Pirates. But is there anyone else that wants to give a plug to their channels or their what videos they have working on, whatever they have cooking that's coming up in the future? Now is the time, and then we're going to end the stream. So we'll start with we'll start right next to me with Ragnar and go around a circle.
You can find me everywhere because I'm omnipresent. I'm usually the gate guardian. You can hit me up in the VC. I do not bite most of the times. We can talk about One Piece or Dragon Ball or Naruto. I shit on most of everything except One Piece and Dragon Ball. Oh, Bleach as well.
Okay, so right now, he's great on the chats. He's been great with the D&D stuff. He has another great mind to talk to. Super available on the Discords to talk to. Ronnie, if you have anything you want to plug or Discord or whatever you want to plug.
Oh shit! I wish I was as comical as Ragnar or as witty as Vexus, but shout outs to everybody in the chat. That's Nakama Gang, Craw Hat Crew, the server, Nakama United for Life. I put out on YouTube my first video, what One Piece means to me, and the first short.
Nice.
Go peep that. I stream on Twitch, playing games and stuff like that. Ron will win 60. Just and basically just support everybody that's gang. Support everybody that loves One Piece, because that's what Oda's message really is. It's everybody supporting each other, making bonds and building each other, helping each other's growth. So let's just all spread the message, and that's it. Nakama.
True, great. It's great. Great ideas and great everything. And if anything like what Ron was talking about on here or in that YouTube channel, it's something to look forward to. So please go and subscribe to his channel. And then Moo, do you have anything you want to plug or what you have coming up? Muglatan?
Oh yeah, sure. Everybody go subscribe to Muglatan on YouTube. We're at 700 right now. I've been a bit sort of stagnant with the uploads recently, but I got multiple big things in the works, big plans coming up for this year, for the coming months. So check that out, get in early, and stay tuned.
Nice. Yes, I think 3Day is putting all these links in the chat right now. So definitely check out Moog's channel. He's close to 1,000 subscribers. Just great work all around. Vexy, is there anything you would like to plug or anything shout out wise that you have?
Oh yeah, I mean, massive shout out to everybody at the last arc. Like honestly, massive shout out to 3Day Moon Princess right there with the link for Ronnie's Discord, Nakama United for Life. It's VCs are going off every single night, pretty much. We have a blast. My lungs were dying. I was laughing so hard the other night with 3Day and Ronnie and TJ and all the members of the Craw Hat Grand Fleet. If you know, you know. Massive shout out to Cube as well for putting the 14 plus hours in VC, just kind of spitballing with me ideas and whatnot, getting me out of my shell. Massive shout out to Ragnar, one of my players in my One Piece D&D campaign, which we're going to be streaming every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time for on Tachi's channel. And then I have my own channel, but I have not put out any videos. I've just been kind of buried in D&D prep work and just in the live chats and kind of procrastinating on it. But I will be putting out some fire content for you guys as soon as I get my stuff together. But
nice. No, nice. Yeah, he's running that's the other kind of TLA affiliated D&D type thing is going to be on Tachi's channel on Tuesdays, which is why we're probably going to be doing these regular streams on Wednesdays. So we're not, kind of taking the viewers or they're taking viewers from us, whatever. We'll probably be doing our future ones on Wednesday. That's also seems when the chapters seem to be coming out recently too. So check out on Tachi's channel Tuesday nights. They're having a great D&D game. It's already been a lot of fun with just one session.
Thank you. And then also shout out to Group 3. I don't know if they're going to be streaming, but Kev is my protege, and they're having so much fun, and I've been hanging out in their voice chats. They're actually on right now in the D&D voice chat channel, so I'm gonna hop onto there once we wrap up here. But yeah, massive shout outs to the D&D crowd in the Last Ark server. It's been so much fun, and thank you guys so much for putting me on that.
I'm proud of you, Vex.
Cube, anything you got?
Well, first of all, I want to thank everyone who was able to show up here on the stream, but also on the chat. We appreciate the love, the donation to everybody. Even sharing their thoughts. I want to thank also the people here. Vex, Ronnie, Ragnar, a lot of help. Moog, all of those people we VC a lot. You want to find me on the TLA. The Last Ark, YouTube channel. That's the main place where I am. Also on the Discord, just ping me and we can VC. We can have great talks. I love sharing One Piece talks with people. And I want to thank the entire team. Like Sriday, Lucas, Den, Fritz right here. Elis for showing up. But a big thanks to Adam for really spearheading this stream. Honestly, bro, appreciate you. For the work and the sharing of knowledge.
Thank you, man. My pleasure. And like I said, I'm just Amjin Rakai on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram, all that stuff. I have open commissions. I draw my own thumbnails and avatars and stuff like that. So hit me up on any of those to just talk about that if you're interested. If not, just check out the channel for some crazy ideas. But this was a great stream. I think I don't know what the total was for the super chats, but thank you all for the donations and chats and everything like that. That's always great, and it always keeps us, kind of. Hopefully someday this is what we're all doing to just put food on the table. And it's not just kind of side money or whatever. It's it's real money. We're not that I'm saying you guys didn't donate or anything. Just hey, we're now having big enough streams that we can live off of and stuff. That's kind of the dream for all of us. So thank you for helping us get to a little bit of that point already. And with that, I guess, Fritz, if you want to end the stream, we're good to go. We're good to thank you everyone for joining. And like I said, we'll be doing the D&D tomorrow, as well as on Wednesday, we'll be doing hopefully a chapter reaction type stream again if they come out early like they have been.